Welcome everybody to another episode of the Plug and Play podcast. My name is Alexis and I got my two co-hosts. What's up, Henry? Good morning. How are you, man?
I'm still waking up, but we're gonna talk about some great video game news and impressions today.
Yeah, I'm excited for the impressions. We got some good stuff in there.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, and then we got, of course, Cameron. What's up, man? Good morning.
Morning, man. I'm ready for this first story because I just played something very relevant. So
yeah,
it's good timing.
Yeah, good timing. So yeah, let's get started. Yeah, so we're gonna start with the Dead Space sequel, which got canned due to the remake of the first game's poor performance. And there's like a lot of different sides on this one. There's Jeff Grubb and Jason Schreier were like they're saying that we'll start with Jeff Grubb first. He was like on a podcast or whatever. Like he'd be leaking stuff, like games and stuff, and he was saying that like the Dead Space 2 remake was no longer in development, and like the developers are not working like on Battlefield. It's like a support studio, I think. I mean, according to like EA, I think, and DICE, because there's like reports before this came out that the studio behind the Dead Space remake was working on some Battlefield content for I think the new one, and then after that EA was like, nah, that's not true. So there's like they said there's no validity to that statement. So I mean, you can't really trust EA in this situation because for companies, they're always gonna like shoot down statements like this, but you never see companies shoot down like rumors and stuff. So like it was kind of cool to see EA just come out and be like, nah, that's not right. And then Jason Schreier, he's a reliable source for like leaks and stuff. He said that both were right. Because I looked up like what he was trying to say, but Henry, I don't know if you want to like elaborate on this, because I tried to, you linked an article from the Bloomberg and I was trying to read it, but it says I have to pay like $2 a month to like read it.
Oh, well, not if you have the add-on like me.
Okay.
Gets you around paywalls.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that shit sucks. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is there was a lot of drama, quote unquote, in the gaming industry around this because Jeff Grubb's a big name, Jason Schreier's a big name, and then obviously EA making a comment, like you said, Alexis, very rare. You don't normally see these companies come out and say much of anything when a rumor is, they'll just say no comment. That's like the standard corporate shtick.
PR talk.
Yeah, exactly. So, like it was weird for them to even come out and make a comment on this. So Jeff Grubb on his Game Mess Mornings podcast with Giant Bomb, Jeff Grubb has a weird way of just kind of being very flippant about his leaks. Like he'll just be like, oh yeah, and Dead Space is canceled. It's like, okay, well, normally people would have a big expose on that. They would write an article. They would state all their sources, X, Y, and Z. Jeff Grubb really doesn't do that much. And so he said it's no longer in development. And EA said, you're not right. They said, quote unquote, there's no validity to that statement. And Jason Schreier came out and said, okay, well, neither one of these two people are really lying here. So Jeff Grubb specifically said Dead Space 2 remake is no longer in development. EA said that's not correct, which is technically true. So what the overall story here is after Dead Space 1 remake came out, they tossed around the idea of making a sequel or just completely making a new IP around the Dead Space franchise. And that is when they said this remake didn't sell very well, so there's no reason for us to even start making these games. So technically, they never entered active development to stop being developed in the first place. Really, the only thing that ever happened was there was a conversation that they would ever make it in the first place, that, just like pre-production, not even pre-production, just like a conversation. So essentially what Jeff Grubb was trying to say, he didn't say it very well, or he didn't say it like 100% accurately, but he basically was saying they're not making another Dead Space game. They've completely decided to not do that at all. EA said no way, and Jason Schreier said, well, yeah, both is correct. So I think it's just interesting to see this go back and forth so much because, like I said, we don't normally see that, and it's interesting to see like reporters be pretty flippant and companies kind of crack down on that, and then like we both kind of find out like, well, this is a weird gray area anyway. Like, why are we having a fight over this anyway? But anyway, I think the really big point here is Dead Space Remake did not sell well, which is very surprising because it was very well received, both critically, or I guess not commercially, but very well critically. A lot of people really liked that remake, and Dead Space 1 is like one of my favorite, I think it is my favorite horror game ever.
Over at Resident Evil?
Wow.
I don't. That's the thing, is I really don't necessarily consider like Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil game, and like
I hate that too.
I would kind of think that like Resident Evil 4 is like a borderline horror game. It's not really a horror game. It's more like an action game. But like Dead Space is like pretty much like very much leaning into the horror vibes of being a horror game. So that's why I say that it's my favorite horror game. And like I have a copy of Dead Space Remake. I haven't played it yet, but I have a copy. I got it on Black Friday for cheap. And it's very surprising to me that this game didn't sell very well, and I'm very disappointed that I'm not going to get a 2 remake, even though I don't think 2 is as good as 1. 1 is definitely like the peak of the series, but like or a new IP. But like it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and I'm going to kick it over to Cam now because I think he has a lot more insight on this currently.
Yeah, go for it, Cam.
Yeah, this is an interesting article to stumble across this week for me because, well, for one, and we'll talk about this later, I just actually played the remake, so it's especially prescient on my mind. But also, I don't know if maybe I just kind of completely misinterpreted, which just happens very often because it's very hard to get a pulse on the gaming community at large, I would say, but it's really hard to predict what's going to sell well and what won't. Movies can kind of be the same way. And so, like, in my mind, right, just going off of mind share, I guess you'd call it, or like, you know, people talking about games, I was under the understanding that, like, Dead Space Remake, A, sold well, and B, that Callisto didn't. It's the complete opposite.
Is it
so
really?
Callisto Protocol... Mm-hmm. So this was the interesting thing to me, and I'm going to kind of rope Callisto into this, is Callisto... sales numbers aren't exact in gaming, and then very rarely are because they're always so hush-hush about it. But yeah. Callisto sold, you know, somewhere in quotes, right? Somewhere north of 2 million copies. And for Dead Space Remake, apparently there's, you know, some hearsay that they were expecting somewhere around 5 million copies sold, which to me sounds really ambitious, but that it settled somewhere, you know, somewhere north of 1 million. So if we, you know, take a rough, very high-level picture of this, right? Callisto, I would say at minimum probably 500,000 more copies sold if, you know, we're being generous to Dead Space. But in the end, much better sales, which I found really interesting because, like, I did not expect that.
No.
But as it pertains specifically to Dead Space, right, this was really surprising to me to come across, like I was saying earlier, because... everything I heard, like you said, Henry, like everything I heard critically was that, you know, a lot of people praised the remake. It changed enough stuff up from the original game that a lot of people were excited about that. I know it reviewed well. And then to see this, that like, oh yeah, no, the sales were pretty bad. And then the more I dug into it, I saw how, you know, even if the sales weren't terrible from like an unbiased perspective, that from their perspective as the publishers, they wanted way more sales. So that was kind of interesting for me to come across. I mean, it's definitely a huge bummer because which again we'll talk about later, but I actually really liked the remake. That was my first exposure to the franchise. Even my like opinion on the game aside, you know, obviously it's a pretty well-regarded series. I mean, I know I've always heard in my gaming time that 3 is pretty bad. I don't know how true that is, but
it's the worst. It's the worst of the series, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because I feel like that's what I've always heard. But I mean, obviously, it's unfortunate because like I'm always a big proponent of, you know, game series either coming back, you know, Final Fantasy VII, for example, and or just like in general reimaginings like God of War, maybe. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, honestly. And I know a lot of people are against that kind of thing, but my answer to that is always just like, well, then just don't buy it. You know what I mean? Like I would say the same because I knew somebody that was very bummed out they were remaking 7, which sounds crazy, but he was like, oh no, the original's always going to be better. And I was like, well, just don't buy the new one then.
It's always going to be there. The original's always going to be there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I hate people like that.
yeah. You can always have that experience if you want to go back to it. So at the end of the day, I always love it when games come back. Is what I'm trying to say. And obviously, this is a pretty big bummer. I do think this is a good example of like a news story. This is the funny thing to me about the news, and I'm sure it's been like this for a while, but I've only paid attention to it since I've been an adult, which hasn't been super long in general in the timeline of the news cycle. And like I think it's really funny to see like the case like this where it's literally just the person is going to have their own side of the story, and it's so funny how that comes out because it's like, yes, they're, like you said, Henry, yes, they're both technically right or like technically telling the truth, but it's like, can we just get like all, which we now have from Jason Schreier, but it's like, can we just get all the facts? Like Jeff Grubb, it's a little misleading to just be like no longer in development when it's like, you're not going to elaborate on that. It makes it, most people, myself included, saw that and would think, oh, it was actively in development.
Yeah, true.
And then it's, it comes out that it's like basically conversations. I'm like, okay, guys, like, yes, you're not lying, but also like maybe elaborate a little bit more. That would be good. So that's
Grubb,
kind of
man.
my feelings on it.
Jeff Grubb is like, he's hit or miss on leaks, I think. And then I think you can trust Jason Schreier for like the leaks for this.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yep.
Jason Schreier is pretty much like the 100% honest truth. He's very much earned that reputation. And then Jeff Grubb, he can definitely have some misses, but in all honesty, like 90% of the time he's going to hit. And he was technically right about this. His wording was poor.
Sure.
So I agree. He should be more deliberate with his wording there. And he left it open for EA to come in and squash it and cause a big kerfuffle. So my white word of the day. So it's unfortunate. I do want to tag team on that point Cam made, which is the Callisto Protocol selling. I think that's an interesting thing to bring up as well because I mean like so like Dead Space. The Dead Space remake probably was put out at a pretty bad time, like probably the worst time it could have been, because Callisto Protocol was originally going to release, I think, either the same week or like a week after, and they moved it up. So if you don't know the Callisto Protocol, it's made by like the same guy who made Dead Space, the original Dead Space. He splintered off and he made his own game called Callisto Protocol, which is basically
Glenn Schofield.
Yeah. I think that's correct. And he basically made his like another Dead Space game, pretty much. And there hasn't been anything like Dead Space since the original Dead Space. So like he was basically trying to tap in on that nostalgia for the original series. And that game came out and it sucked. It was like not very good. People didn't like it. I played it for free. It was one of the PlayStation Plus games a while back. I played it and it was like so mediocre. I was like, I don't want to keep playing this. So yeah, I kind of get why people were not feeling it. But it came out. They moved the release date up because they were like, we cannot compete with the Dead Space remake because this is basically a Dead Space remake. It's just not as good. So like it came out a few weeks prior. Maybe people got their fix for Dead Space after playing that, or it soured the environment around like a Dead Space name. Not sure. And then obviously Resident Evil 4 remake, which is we've already compared Resident Evil 4 to this in this to Dead Space in this conversation. I don't think it's like a super accurate comparison, but there's definitely a lot of similarities between those two games.
It's crossover with fans.
Definitely a lot of overlap between fans. Absolutely. Like that game was coming out a few months later, so like it was probably like the worst time to release a Dead Space game. I don't know if any of that has to do with the poor performance, and I honestly, Dead Space has always kind of struggled to sell. I don't know why, but it always has. So maybe that's just a carryover. This is just a series that was never meant to be a mainstream success. Even though EA made like an animated TV show around this, like
there's a lot of spin-offs.
There was a whole lot of spin-offs. It surprises me that EA didn't see this as a huge seller back in the day because I think they just made so much stuff around it. So I don't know. It's hard for me to pin it down, but that's my take.
During this time, another thing is that RE4 Remake, it launched at $60 and Dead Space launched at 70.
That
You think
could
that
hurt
was
too.
Yeah, I was thinking that because that was before Capcom made their game $70. So I think that's what helped Resident Evil 4 during that time. And yeah, this just sucks because like you gotta wonder like how many sales do they wanted 5 million, right? So it's like 5 million, like RE4 Remake, it has 7 million in total, which reached it like last month and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like how many sales does this thing need? Because it got like a million. I think it got like around a million. I think above a million, like probably 3 million at the max, I think. But it's like how many sales do you need? Because you gotta wonder like how the budget behind it. Because I mean the game looks amazing. I've seen gameplay of it. It's like I think it's like one of the best looking games on like PS5 and stuff. And then like when you compare it, it's like Callisto Protocol, like they also had a big budget. I think that's why even though it sold like 2 million, it failed because like the budget was like so much.
It was crazy. They sunk so much money into that game, so much. And,
You said it was you said it was mediocre, right? Because I know the combat's pretty basic.
Mediocre as heck. Yeah, it was. I think that game is in the 70s on Metacritic, if not like high 60s or something. I'd have to double check, but like it definitely earned that. I got bored. I straight up got bored playing it. So yeah.
Wow. So you're not gonna finish it?
Oh heck no! I got way too much on my plate to go back and finish a mediocre game, especially when I have literally a Dead Space remake sitting on my shelf that I haven't touched yet. Like, why would I go back and play a game that's just trying to be a Dead Space remake, but not? Like, you know, when I have that actual thing existing in my
I also
possession.
have Callisto. Yeah, because it was on the free games too. So
Yep.
I don't know how long it is. Because if it's like 10 hours, I'll try it.
Yeah, it's like 10, 12 hours. It's not long.
Okay.
How long to beat? Let's go. 10 hours. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like, oh man, I don't really use how long to beat because sometimes they be lying sometimes on there.
It can be
honestly,
fluctuating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you, the best way to use it, in my opinion, is if you find, because they have multiple categories.
Yeah.
Usually, not always, of course, but usually I'll find one that like most closely aligns with mine, and then just kind of use that one. So like for me, it's usually completionist because I have a sick compulsion to do every damn thing in a video game. But like, if I look at this game, well, completion is 15 and a half. So I would just kind of look at that as a barometer. But you're right. I mean, there's always going to be differences. Kind of a funny thing you just reminded me of is like Persona 5. Oh my gosh, when it first came out, and I was seeing people like 120 hours, 110 hours, 115, and I was like, I'm not even close to that, and I can tell near the end of the game. And I clocked in at like 81, I think, and I was like,
wait, what?
I did almost everything.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking
I'm like,
about.
I don't know.
81.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 120.
Original?
Jeez, wow.
I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I was just like reading fast or something. I don't know. But anyways, the point is, I think there's always a big disparity with how people play stuff. That's why if you click on the How Long to Beat website and like, you'll see each individual person's reported time, and they fluctuate so much.
They do, yeah.
Like I'm seeing like even on Callisto, it's like one person on PS5 reported 40 hours, and then another guy reported 5 right after him. So it's like,
okay.
That's pretty
Some
huge.
bullshit.
Like there's always huge differences. But like, I mean, obviously the longer the game is, like Persona, the more extreme those differences could be. But I hear you though. Yeah, it's definitely an unreliable thing sometimes. So
For Persona 5, was it the original you're talking about or the Royal one?
original. Yeah,
Oh.
Royal was like closer to 100, I would say.
Okay, because for Royal, I got like 150 hours on there.
Wow.
Yeah,
And-
mine
and
was
that's like-
original.
Okay.
Yeah, I platinumed Royal, and I think I was at like 105 maybe.
You platinumed it at 105. Okay, dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Royal's easy
I mean,
platinum.
honestly, like I don't. I think Royal for sure was faster because I had already obviously played the original, but
Yeah.
like, Yeah, for the original, I don't know. Yeah, that was the thing. That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't even know what like would have been different about my playthrough. But yeah, it was just much shorter than I was seeing other people say. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing for sure.
Yeah. So Dead Space remake looks like it's not in development. So if you're looking forward to that, kind of sucks. Let's get into this next topic. Star Wars Outlaws. There's a controversy behind like the pre-order stuff, and like people were just talking shit about it. Well, there's like a couple things already behind this name. The game requires an internet connection to download it, so it just makes the disc useless. So like there's like no point to just buying a disc because it just says internet required on the box. So it's funny because this one and was it Jedi Survivor, I think, also like you needed an internet connection to download. So it's funny, it's like both Star Wars games you need a internet to download. And there's also different tiers to this one. So you got the base tier, which is $70, and then you got the gold edition, which is $110, and then the final tier, which is ultimate. You get early access for 3 days and get some other stuff for $130. And as another thing people were noticing is that there's an extra mission. Jabba the Hutt mission is going to be held behind the gold edition. So it's for $110 you get that mission. So there's a lot of people mad about this. I don't know. This is from like Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, I feel like they've been struggling. So I feel like they're just trying to nickel and dime and trying to get like the Star Wars fans, because I think Star Wars fans are gonna they might like cave into like the $110 tier, which is expensive for this game. Like damn. And then I don't know if you guys were like I'll hand it off to like Henry. Is like does this like, do you get mad at this, or is it like, oh, it's just classic Ubisoft? There's like an EA move right here. Oh.
I love it. EA is the one we compare it to. I think Ubisoft is bad about it. I think Warner Brothers is bad about it. I think a lot of these big companies. It's just funny that it's synonymous with EA, even though I can't even remember the last game they really did that with. They've been better. EA has been better recently. They just have a horrible reputation. They still do some stupid stuff, but like anyway, Star Wars Outlaws. This has been a really big like controversy over the past week or two, and it just keeps getting worse. Like every other day, it would be like, oh yeah, well this is even worse now. Like it started off with, the game required an internet connection, so like you have to download the entire game. It's really the disc is just like a key to unlock it. And then they announced the tiers, and people freaked out about that. And then they announced the Jabba the Hutt mission being locked behind the gold edition, and everybody freaked out about that. So like they just really could not. They were just catching strays left and right on this. It was really hard for them to make it sound like anything good was coming from this. Here's my take on it, though. This is a really interesting thing for people to be freaking out this much about, in my opinion.
Agree.
I didn't really care. I was like, what the fuck? Why is everybody mad?
Well, I mean, like...
Probably the mission only. I think the mission only. It's like,
So even that, I think people were freaking out about. So, like, there is a single... So let's clarify on that. So they came out at one point and they said, well, there's a Jabba the Hutt mission that's exclusive to the Gold Edition or Ultimate Edition, Gold Up. The problem with that is the messaging behind that was horrible. So even when I initially first heard that, I was like, oh, well, that's the only time you ever get to see Jabba the Hutt in the game. And he's an iconic Star Wars character, and if you wanted to see him, you have to pay $110. Like, that sucks. And then they were like, no. There's a lot of Jabba the Hutt missions in the game. There's just a single one that we pulled out, and that's exclusive to this particular edition. So you still get to see Jabba the Hutt and interact with him and all that other stuff. It's just that one mission that I don't know if it's any better than any other missions. I'm sure it's a very good mission because they are making you pay for it. I hope it's a good mission. Well, I kind of hope and I kind of don't hope that it's a good mission, depending on your stance on that. But so I think that was a massive overreach from the community. They just it was very reactionary, very over the top. These additions, I feel like we've seen this 100 times before. Like the game being $70 shouldn't be that big of a deal at this point. $110 for, honestly, what you get with the gold edition, which is $110, is the season pass, which depending on how much content that is, so be it, and early access for 3 days, which, I think the season pass could possibly be worth $40. It depends how much they're putting into it. Probably not, but maybe. And then early access, I think is a really scummy way. I'm not gonna say scummy, but I think
hate it so much.
I think it's like not something I'm interested in at all. I'm like, why would somebody pay money for this? But it is a way that publishers are trying to extract extra value from these games with. And then $130, it's basically just adding some in-game items and skins. I don't know who the heck is going to actually buy that for an extra $20. That seems completely useless. But like this is really just an amalgamation of like a bunch of stuff that people are already kind of pissed off about in the gaming space, and things that are we've kind of established as being quote unquote like anti-consumer. But like this has happened a million times before. So like why this Star Wars game has decidedly been this like moment where people are finally putting their like flag in the sand and saying like I'm fed up with this. I can't take it anymore. That's odd to me. I get it. It's all these things at the same time, but like at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't know, Cam. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and I actually have a very interesting take on this, which is like I actually put the onus more on the consumer than the company in situations like this, which I know a lot of people will probably not like to hear. But my thing is, if you don't like it, vote with your wallet and they'll stop doing it. Because the problem with the whole idea of people getting pissed off at this is like people are still going to buy it.
Yeah.
So like if they can do it, if you and this works for literally like anything. This is not just video gaming. If you prove that you're willing to basically give in, right, and pay, like a company's going to take advantage of that. Like that their goal is to make money. So like you can say, I'm going to like, oh my God, this Jabba the Hutt thing is so stupid. I'm mad. Well, okay, then don't buy it yet, right? Don't buy it yet, and just wait for it to go on sale. Ubisoft games go on sale like crazy all the time. So like,
just wait a month.
If you really hate it, like just wait and it'll go on sale and it'll be cheaper, right? And like, here's the thing, okay? There's a clear divide. This is giving me shades of Theaterism from last episode, by the way, which I think everybody will find amusing, but. Like the difference here, I guess for me is like I wasn't pissed about the pricing on Theaterism. I think it's scummy and I think it's stupid, and I think that this is kind of the same thing. Like I have more of a problem with people getting mad and then still doing it anyways. Is what I'm trying to say. Like let's frame it for Star Wars Outlaws, right? So like you said, Henry, the gold edition, extra $40 season pass, early access. Right. And so here's my thing. Early access is one of my biggest pet peeves in gaming the last few years. I think it's absolutely idiotic. I'm never like, and you can even quote me on this in 5 years if we're still doing this, which that would be amazing. But it's like I will never pay any amount of money to play a game 3 days early. I can promise you that. Like I do not care. There's way too many good games. I'm never going to pay, like, if it's a matter of, like, single-digit days, I don't care. So, like, that, to me, just completely throw that one out, right? Like, in terms of, if this is me making this decision. The Season Pass versus the base edition, like, I don't have as much of a problem with that. Like you're saying, Henry, I don't really see what the big deal is here. Like, a $40 Season Pass... Let's see how much content it is, then I'll make an educated decision, right? That's how I take this approach, you know what I mean? And I don't have much interest in this game in the first place, so obviously I'm speaking hypotheticals here, but like people that are getting pissed off at, the gold edition and then the ultimate edition, like just don't buy that edition then. You know what I mean? Like if you're mad about a $130 edition, just don't buy it. And I think one of the biggest kind of pushbacks or like devil's advocate to that I've seen in the gaming space is a lot of people would then say to me, well, it's the fact that they're doing it in the first place that I have a problem with. And I'm like, we're going full circle in this discussion, right? Because if you don't like it, then don't buy it, wait for it to go on sale. If enough people do that, they'll stop doing it. That's kind of my take on this. And I obviously like have a precedent on the podcast. Like I generally like to kind of look at it from both angles, and like I'm not sitting here, with my suit and tie being like, yes, how can I make Ubisoft more money? But it's also like, let's be a little bit rational about this. And as you said, Henry, and this is one of my biggest problems with this kind of drama that's been going on, is like, don't pick and choose. Do this for every game, right? Like,
yeah.
Come at other companies with the same heat as you're coming with this. If you don't like this, is my thing, because like, you can't have it both ways, right? Like, you can't get mad at this game for having the early access and the season pass, but then turn around and be okay with like Call of Duty doing it, right? And being like, oh yeah, people like to get in the servers early or whatever excuse it is. So like, that's my counter to all of this backlash. And the Jabba thing, it's like, I mean, call me crazy, whatever you want to call me. I don't really think that's that big of a deal, because A, like you said, he's still in the game anyways. B, like, there's a lot of missions in a lot of video games that are paid content. That's the whole concept of DLC. I guess maybe I just look at it as another piece of DLC, right? Like, do people get pissed off when, you can't, like, we were just talking about Callisto earlier. Did people get pissed off that, the DLC wasn't included in the game? Maybe, but not a ton of people did. And it's like, no, DLC happens all the time. I guess the difference here is like, yes, it's like a day one DLC, but it's also like, if they finished the game up and then made additional content and made that paid in its own way, I don't know. I don't really see the problem here, but maybe I'm missing something. So
I think it's because it's because people just want to, they want everything on launch. And we don't know how big this game is. Like, we don't know how long it is, if it's any good at all, because Ubisoft and like, for these like the small missions, I don't know if you guys remember, like, during like the, what was it, around like the PS3 era, like with like Ubisoft games, I think, like Assassin's Creed and like Watch Dogs, like there's like on the cover of the box art, it says extra hour of gameplay only on PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember that shit. And then it's like, when you actually go in there, it's just like extra missions. It's just tied to like that version of like the PlayStation.
It was nothing. It was never anything significant.
Yeah. So it's probably the same thing here. So it's like, we'll see. Because I mean, I don't know why people like, you don't got to pre-order the game. I mean,
yep.
Just wait. I mean, that's me basically. Like, I don't really pre-order games anymore unless it's like Final Fantasy 7, where it's like, yeah, this is a banger right here, so I'm gonna pre-order the deluxe edition so it doesn't go out of sale. But like, for this, it's just like, just wait. I mean, you got time. I mean, Avatar went on sale for like $40 like a couple weeks after it came out. Remember that shit? And then it's like, yeah, just wait. So I don't know. I think they're just trying to get the Star Wars fans, because Star Wars fans they're hungry for their content and stuff. So like, this is like Ubisoft. They're being smart. They're being like smart business people. They're like, okay, we can just charge this and people are gonna buy it. And I think early access, it's weird because I think it's like, it's kind of smart at the same time, but it's like, I don't really care. So it's like, it's not gonna convince me to like, just 3 days. Like, come on, man. I'll wait. Yeah, I'll just play something else. I don't gotta play this right away. So yeah. That's it for Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know. Did you guys see the trailer for it?
I did not watch the trailer. No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, me neither. I just bring it up if any of you seen it, because
I did.
Okay.
I did. It looked cool, and it's funny actually that I was the one that did, because I'm probably the least interested in Star Wars out of all three of us, which is kind of funny that
I'm a casual.
That turned out that way, but I thought it looked interesting. I mean, honestly, like, like I've said before, like, the setting doesn't super appeal to me. Like, I didn't play the Jedi games, for example, even though I heard they were decent. This is it's kind of the same stance I take on Jedi as what I'll take on this, where it's like, if it's a rainy day and I just don't have anything to play, and it's a big, there's a big fat sale on it, like, I might pick this game up, but it looks fine. I will say for Star Wars fans, it does look pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know what I
agreed.
mean? Like, I think there's some like little nuggets here and there you can clearly see from, the franchise. And so I think it looks decent. I definitely think like, if we're talking from like a critical perspective, I think it's going to settle somewhere like low mid 80s on OpenCritic. I think it'll be like a good but not fantastic
I think
game.
you're probably
I'm not
right.
seeing I'm not seeing like any signs that it's going to be like in the 90s. It looks pretty standard. So
Nice. All right. So this game, do you know the release date for this? I think it was August.
They
something?
moved it up to like August. Yeah,
Okay, so
I thought
it's
this was
only
going to
like-
be easy like November, October release, but they moved it up to August.
August 27th. Just live research.
Yeah.
So
I know it's August, but I don't know if they had the exact date.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, check out for that. I mean, it's coming out in the summer, so it's like there's gonna probably be nothing to play that time. Only Elden Ring, which is like a month before. So yeah, Star Wars fans, there you go, Outlaws. I know one of my friends. I think he might buy this game because he's like a huge Star Wars fan. Like I told you, he bought the Battlefront collection like on launch, and like how buggy that was. And I haven't seen him back on that game since. So I don't think this one's gonna be that bad. So
Yeah,
you
those
go.
Star Wars fans are passionate bunch.
hell yeah.
So I think
Bro,
that is why you can charge or do all this stuff, and like it's gonna make money anyway.
They
So,
they buy Legos that are like over like a couple $100 of like the Millennium Falcon and stuff. It's like damn. Yeah, these guys are passionate. So there you go. Let's get into this next one. Former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra suggests that players should be able to tip devs after finishing a game. Like in this article, he went like on Twitter, and then he was talking about like how like during like some games that he plays, he's like, oh, I want to like once I'm finished this game, like they did a good job on it. There's no microtransactions. I want to tip the devs like an extra $10 or something. And then he's talking about like games like God of War, Red Dead 2, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, stuff like that. And yeah, there's a lot of pushback from people. I don't know if there wasn't that many people on his side. I guess there was probably only a couple, but this shit's like there's enough tipping. Like I think these devs they get paid enough. I mean they're getting paid good, maybe. I mean depending like on the studio, I think they're getting like enough money to like sustain their life. So it's like if you want to support it, just buy the game again, or like we were just talking about like just buy the deluxe edition or like the gold edition, which is like that's a tip right there. So I don't know if you guys like willing to tip your God of War devs because they didn't put no DLC in it or whatever.
I mean, like, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think so. First of all, by the way, I saw some people flipping out. I mean, when do we not see the gaming community flip out, or the internet in general? Right?
yeah,
But,
yeah.
So this
I
is
hate
kind
that.
of a nothing burger for me to say.
Yeah, I don't really
but,
care.
Like, I have seen people kind of freaking out about this, seeing the headline, but they don't actually click on the article.
Yeah.
Like, it's really there's a huge difference between saying that players should tip and should be able to tip. And like too many people are misreading this as like him saying you need to tip the game devs after you beat a game. But like he's not saying that. He's basically just saying like, and I've talked to people that have kind of expressed similar sentiments before, where it's like, and I've actually mentioned this in context of like some indie games, right, that are less than 70, where I'm like, God, I feel like I got a steal. You know what I mean? Like I got Hollow Knight on sale for $8. Like, man, like I would have paid 50. Like stuff like that. It's like he's basically just saying I would love to be able to just like throw him some extra cash after the game if the game's phenomenal. So that was kind of the first thing I wanted to address. But then also like I think it's a fine idea. I think it's kind of a weird suggestion from my perspective, only because like you're saying, Alexis, like there are structured ways to give them more money. Like a lot of games have merchandise. And I know, yes, this is not like going one for one to the devs, but like a lot of games have merchandise. A lot of games, like you could just buy like DLC or like an upgrade to a different edition. Like you said, just buy another copy. You know what I mean? Like gift it to a friend or something.
There you
So
go.
it's kind of a weird like. I'm like it's a weird concept, but like I get what he's going for. But I guess like if I was sitting here face to face with him, I would be like, why like say a tip instead of just those other alternatives? Because like I don't go to an art museum and be like, I wish I could tip this artist. Like I'm just like, no, like I bought the ticket to get in here, right? And like that's supporting them. I don't know. That's just kind of my take on it, but it's an interesting like suggestion. But I just feel like there's better ways to like support them than just giving them a tip. Yeah. I also do think, and people were pointing this out, and I do agree with them on this. I do think it's really funny to hear this guy saying this because this is a company that is like notoriously money grubbing. So I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit ironic, only in the sense that like he's the one saying it, but it's also like he's not saying you should be able to. So yeah.
He's a former president for Blizzard, so he's not working there no more. So I guess he's just out there just saying some shit. And it's funny because like it's stupid because you said like people get mad at this. They look at the headline of like an article or something instead of like looking at the tweet, because he literally says, I know most will dislike his idea, which is true, but it's like just like he knows where he's coming from. I think he just wants to give the money to the devs, not to the company. So yeah. You wanna add anything into this, Henry? You want to tip your devs $10 because they did a great job?
I do want to add something to this. So I think this is a very interesting little headline. That's why I included it. Even though it's a very short blurb, it really does, it introduces a lot of interesting conversational elements, right? So I think that there's two main points here. The first I'm going to start off with is kind of tag teaming off of what Cam was saying just a second ago, but more so adding a separate perspective. So one of the things that you mentioned was like, why would I tip somebody? I've already paid for this or something like that. Like, who would want to tip somebody for something they don't have to tip for at all? And I tend to agree with that in my actions. I never give extra money where I don't have to or I'm not expected to. But I think something that we've seen rise very prominently lately that has profoundly confused me, but has become very mainstream and something that a lot of people do is like tipping streamers, Twitch streamers or something like that. Sending like a donation to somebody like that. It's like, why would you ever do that? What are you getting? You get nothing. You're just giving that person money. Sometimes you don't even do that. Some people just donate just to donate. I'll look at some streamer pages and they'll be like, yeah, buy this product, because it gets me money. Or here's my Bitcoin wallet, like send me Bitcoin just for free. Like that stuff was very prominent, especially when Bitcoin was like a lot more prominent in the conversation normally. But like there's all sorts of ways where you can just give streamers money just directly for literally nothing. They won't read your name. You don't get emotes. That's like subscribing to their channel, I think, is what you have to do that on like Prime or like Twitch, excuse me. But like that's something that's very prominent now, and I think a lot of people see a value, and like I said, I don't particularly do that, but a lot of people see a value of giving people that produce things that they like money for the sake of continuing to produce those things, or that they like the things that they're producing. And like I think that there is probably a lot of money to be made if you added a tip jar to the end of a game, or on the start menu of a game. There's probably like easy few $1,000 that you'd probably make, doing that. I think that money would go to the publisher, not to the developers. There would have to be a really interesting structure set in place that would, a publisher would say like, oh yeah, definitely, you'll only distribute this to the developers and nobody else. But maybe that structure could still be in place. But anyways, I think that's interesting. There's also like the topic of tipping in general. I think this statement just comes at a really bad time where like I think tipping in just society at large has started becoming like a negative thing. Like people are not happy with tipping culture anymore in America. Like if I go to any place and they're like, and they spin around a thing to me and they're like, it's just going to ask you a few short questions, like I go crazy. I'm like, oh man, so I think a lot of people feel the same way. So like tipping is kind of negatively regarded. I think the second main like focal point of this entire conversation here is really the base of what he's trying to get at, which is how can we extract more value from our games? How can we make more money from our games? And I think this ties in very well to our previous story about Star Wars Outlaws, is like Ubisoft is showing off a lot of ways about how they think they should be able to extract more money from their games, putting a premium edition or early access, or holding missions for extra money, or a season pass, or even as far as make a disc, you have to have internet connection, because essentially what they're trying to do there is prevent from having to put another disc in the case, because odds are the game is too big to fit on one disc. So like they're trying to save, whatever the 50 cents a disc is for every single copy of a physical copy they're going to produce, which obviously helps their bottom line. But I think the gaming industry as a whole has really been struggling with how to monetize, and how to, because like as I think we've mentioned on previous podcasts, like these games are not making, like these games are boom or bust, like a game is going to be making billions of dollars, or like it's not going to make up what its development costs were, because development costs are millions and millions and millions of dollars now, and it takes 5 years to make any game. And if you're not selling 5 million units or more, or 60 million units, or whatever the case is, it's really difficult to make your money back. So like developers are having to resort to season passes and live service models and loot boxes and all this other stuff that, like the gaming industry as a whole doesn't really love, but it's like, well, we are paying now 70, it used to be 60 primarily for games. And I think that there is some truth. A lot of people don't like it, but I think that there is some truth that like we are probably paying too little for a game at $70, like comparatively to what pricings for game has kind of fluctuated with inflation and everything like that. Like games don't go up in price when there's inflation. Like they just kind of sit, and they have sat there for a long time. Like with my eggs at the supermarket recently, they'd be 100% more, or whatever the case is. But like my games, they would always be the exact same price. They never changed. So, and that's the case over the course of a decade or two. So $70 is a really small hike, in all honesty, and I think the game industry has had to try to make up for that in these kind of milking-y ways that we've discussed previously. So I think this is another way he's attempting to do it, and it's an interesting conversation. I'd say at the end of the day, though, why not add a tip jar? Give me the option, I guess, as long as it's not invasive.
Hell nah.
Yeah, okay. Alexis,
I don't want to see that.
Push back. I love it.
It's because it's sort of like setting the precedent that, we're gonna pay our devs less, and then we're gonna add a tip jar. I mean,
This is a great,
when you see tipping, like when you see
counter.
like tipping is like you usually see it at like you mostly see it like at places like was it like DoorDash, Uber, or like sit down restaurants for like the waiter or the waitress or whatever, and that's because they're not getting that much money, so like they pressure you to tip so they can get some money, right? And then and now like you see that it's like it's culminating to like other like industries, right? Is like now you're seeing at the barber and stuff, like the barber he wants $40 for your haircut or something. Before it was like $10 cheaper because he wants to tip now. Or like I'm going to pick up my Subway order, and it's like it's asking me for a tip even though I'm gonna pick it up. Like it's just like, and I put $0 every time. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not giving you any more money. This is like $10 for like a sandwich. Like it's already expensive. I'm not gonna pay extra. And it's like for this, I do agree with you though. Like the games are like $70. I think that's a good deal for like, I mean, depending on the game you get. Like it's a good like entertainment to value. Like because like movies are like. Movie tickets are like $20, like damn near now, and like those are like 2 hours, 3 hours long, and like games are like over like 20 hours long. I mean, depending on which one you get, of course. And then is there anything you wanted to add there? Because
I think
you said you wanted to add the tip thing at the end, I guess.
Okay, so I think that was honestly a really good comeback. I think that normally when tipping is introduced, it is introduced with the expectation that you are making up a portion of the person's salary that you're tipping towards, and yeah, maybe that would be the standard of, well, we would be paying our devs more. I would hope that dev salaries would stay the same after tipping. But yeah, I it's possible that tipping culture in that way could skew that way. But if they were going to incorporate a tip jar, I would definitely want, or a tip functionality within games, I would want them to continue to pay devs the exact same, or whatever, however the market would normally adjust without tipping. And that's my stance. If they were going to pay devs less, 100% don't put a tip jar in. I don't want to feel that pressure when playing a game that like these devs are going to be out of. I already feel that pressure half the time. That like if I don't buy a game or if I don't support a game enough, like I won't be able, like this studio will go under, or like I'll never be able to play this game again. We've already talked about Dead Space. If people didn't support it enough, and so. Like even though I bought a copy, I'm still not going to be able to play it anymore. And there's several franchises that I've hit that kind of roadblock with. So, or of like not enough people bought it, but I loved it. So, that's my take though.
Do you know which franchises you're talking about?
Oh yeah, the one that comes to mind at 100% is Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that series, and it's gone through a lot of highs and lows. Like I was even a part of a Facebook group a long time ago that like sent Sega a bunch of letters in a like campaign to try and get them to make another Valkyria Chronicles game and to port the third game to America, which the third game never came to America. There's Valkyria Chronicles 1, 2, and 4 in America. 3 never came.
That's funny.
And I have there was actually a fan patch they made for the PSP for the Valkyria Chronicles 3 because they never localized it, and so I have that sitting on like my Steam Deck right now, waiting for a rainy day because like I'll never get more Valkyria Chronicles. Nobody bought that game. But yeah, that's a series that like after I didn't know I was gonna like it. Obviously, the first one, so I bought that game at like $20, and then I was like, oh, this is one of my favorite games ever. And so I've bought every other edition they've ever made for Valkyria Chronicles. I bought the collector's edition for Valkyria Chronicles 4, and I even bought my friend a copy of Valkyria Chronicles, the original Valkyria Chronicles, as well to help support it. So like they're like, I mean, wow. it all comes in. All this whole conversation is a big coming together moment here. But yeah, Valkyria Chronicles would be mine.
Shout out to those games; they're so unique,
so
unique.
Yeah.
The gameplay is like very. God, it's just so different than a lot of other things I've played. It scratches such a very specific itch. I have the fourth one. I actually haven't played the fourth one yet. I have played 1 and 2, but I have the fourth one in my backlog, just kind of, like you said, waiting in the background. So yeah, I'm excited to play that. Also, shout out the 1 and 4, they do like a duo pack on PlayStation Store. They go on sale for dirt cheap.
Very low.
So like if you've ever been curious about those, like you have a very low barrier to entry if you want to just dip your toe in. So,
are they strategy games?
Yeah, they're strategy games.
Okay, I know you see on PSN it's like $10, right? I think
for like both of them.
Yeah, they go on sale all the time. It's crazy.
That always caught my eye, but it's like I'm not like a huge strategy fan, so I don't know. Maybe. And were you when you played it, Henry?
No, I don't think I am. I would not normally say I'm a strategy guy, but there's a lot in Valkyria Chronicles that like just kind of like hit me like it really was like I'm a big anime guy. It's very anime-esque. There's a lot of story and great characters, great writing, and like the strategy in itself, like we were saying, is very unique. It's a lot more interactive than a lot of strategy games. A lot of strategy games, you're like a god-like figure in the sky, telling units to go do stuff. But like you're taking active control of most of these units, which is very unique and very much more interactive and fun for me. So that's why I liked it.
I remember watching like a gameplay of it, and I think in the comments, I don't know, it might be if somebody said it's Call of Duty meets anime. I was like, what the fuck? Do you agree with that or not?
I would not agree with that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, it's way more, I would say, slower paced than Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not like running and gunning. Like, I mean, you are from a literal sense. I know people are going to be like, yes, you are, but it's not like it's way different. You just need to dip your toe in and try it, because like it's hard to even explain, for me at least.
It's very unique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I'll buy it if it's on sale. So
do it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this next one. Yuji Naka. He accuses a Dragon Quest producer of lying in court. I don't know if you guys remember this. Like Yuji Naka, like a couple years ago, he was arrested, or he was indicted for like some insider trading for like some shares at Square Enix. Because he knew that they're working on several unannounced mobile titles. And so he got like a 2.5 year sentence and like a $1.2 million fine in all this. And I think just recently he was on Twitter, and he's talking shit to the Dragon Quest producer that snaked him out to the police. And now he's like, I guess he's gonna like countersue him or something. I don't know. This is hilarious because it's like, was Yuji Naka, like, was he in prison during this whole time, or was he just like chilling at his house or whatever?
Suspended.
Okay. Yeah. Oh damn. So he's like, damn, that sucks. I mean, you gotta wait. Like,
it was a suspended sentence with probation.
Yeah.
So he was like out and about, like he wasn't actually like jailed during the past couple of years, which I know a lot of people thought he was, which I thought was kind of interesting.
He hasn't tweeted. That's why.
He was on a social media hiatus, so this was like his first breaking of silence since then.
Yeah. Oh, God. So like during this time, does that count into the sentence, or is it like separate? If you know.
So the way it works is like they basically put him on a probationary period for 4 years, and they said we will put you in jail for 2.5 years if you do anything crazy in the next 4. So he is still in the process of working out that probationary period, and then he'll go to jail if they don't like him. But so far he has not done anything to make them want to put him in jail yet. So he's just kind of sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, that was funny because I remember I saw his tweet pop up on my timeline because I follow him, and it's like, what the fuck? I thought you were in prison. But yeah, he's going to he's not like what was it? He's just talking shit, I guess.
Yeah, and I put this on here because I do find it very funny. Like he's just been this clown recently. Everybody likes to jump on him, and I think for good reason. So like Yuji Naka, if you're not familiar, is the co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. Mm-hmm. He was involved in the initial conception of the Blue Blur. And, he's kind of coasted on that kind of success for most of his career. He hasn't done a whole lot else other than that. And, recently, right before this went to trial, he released Balan Wonderworld, which you may remember as being like one of the worst games ever. I played Balan Wonderworld. It was free on PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Plus Extra at one point. And I was like, people make this game look horrible. It's going to be funny. I like playing games that are sometimes like, I like playing games for like an hour or so that like I think look really, really bad just for fun. Like watching a bad movie, that's like it's like comically fun.
That's great.
And like that game was so bad I could not even do that. I was bored out of my mind. It was like so bad. I was like, I can't even have fun with this for being so bad. It's like that level of bad that like transcends being bad funny, and it just is just bad. That's what Balan Wonderworld is. And then he this dude who made Sonic the Hedgehog, which is already kind of a laughing stock in a lot of corners of the gaming community, and then like made this really horrible, like very G-rated game, got arrested, like that's for insider trading, it's just funny. It's just funny to see that. And then like the first thing he does when he does anything is he just starts talking trash. Like he's just this trash fire of like a name in the development community or in the gaming community right now. And I just find it funny to point and laugh at it. It's just there is nothing good going on with Yuji Naka right now. He probably just needs to continue to lay low because nothing good is coming of it.
Yeah, and just want to throw this out there as well, because I don't know if I don't remember us mentioning this during this conversation, is that he actually was arrested twice because he apparently was insider trading twice in a row, back-to-back months. So this case obviously is, it's double tiered, but also like, yeah, this guy, oh my God, this guy, it's just ridiculous. I think honestly, he's just lashing out because he's mad about the situation, but he admitted guilt last year. So, it's not even that he's not even like, I guess my point is he can't even go back and be like, oh no, I didn't actually do it at this point, because he's already admitted guilt. He's literally just pissed off because, this has happened basically.
Yeah.
Is my impression of this. So yeah, I think, obviously this guy, accusing this guy of lying is like, I mean, honestly, I feel like it's just covering his own ass, but that's just my impression.
Yeah. There's like, just don't mess with the money of like companies and stuff, because then it's like you're gonna get caught anyway. Because like he was getting a like insider information. It's like, damn. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get caught because it's like a white collar crime. It's just like, nah, you're gonna get caught, man. Like, so apparently he knew about like Dragon Quest Tagged and Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier. So it was like there was some mobile games that he was like insider trading. So fucking hilarious at him. So hopefully he does good in prison. Hopefully he doesn't get messed up in there.
Hopefully he doesn't have to go to prison.
Japanese prison. I don't know how cruel that is.
It's probably not great. Not great.
So somebody brought up that is because like in Japan there's like the crime is so low, so like there's not that many like criminals over there. It's like it's like a very low crime rate. It's like the people that do get arrested are like fucking, they're maniacs. So it's like,
oh yeah,
shit. So
yeah.
like,
well, also that's and this could be we could make a whole nother podcast about this, but no, they have a very interesting justice system too. They have an extremely high conviction rate, which
99%.
A lot of people suggest that maybe doesn't always mean people are guilty. Maybe they're being coerced. I know Korea is very similar in that regard. I've read a lot about both of them, and it's kind of interesting. Interesting is one way to put it, maybe not the best way to put it, but it's definitely there's some more going on, I would say, than maybe that meets the eye at first. Because yeah, like you have 99% conviction rate. Like, do you really catch everybody that's doing stuff, or do you just kind of grab, in some cases at least, grab the nearest guy you can find that looks sketchy and then make him say he did it? So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's interesting, and in this case, definitely not the case. Like I'm not going to say definitely not, but I feel like that's not the case here because A, he's rich, and B, he also admitted guilt, like publicly. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is a bit different. But yeah.
He's also the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. I just don't think that does well in jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the kind of guy who's going to succeed in jail.
Sure.
That and like the Yakuza population would probably make up a good portion of the people in jail. So he'd make some new friends or not do very well at all in jail, I think. With that
he was with Sega and they made the Yakuza games.
That's true. Hey, you know what? That maybe is in. That maybe is in.
Yeah, but as long as he just lays low for the next few years, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
like
he's not doing that.
He's not on
obviously.
probation much longer anyway.
That's what's so
clearly,
funny.
Yeah. Legally, maybe that's what I should say.
Yes.
Legally, if he lays low.
If you're a gaming company, would you hire Yuji Naka after his sentence?
Heck no.
No?
Why? I wouldn't hire...
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because the court, and also, like Henry was saying, his body of work since Sonic is very unimpressive.
Yeah.
Like, that alone would make me not
one hit wonder.
If he just came up to me and was like, I made Badland Wonderworld, I'd be like, no, you don't get the job. Like, no, get out of here.
That's it. That's your one chance.
There you go. So, shout out to Yuji Naka. Hopefully he does good in prison. Prayers up to him. Let's get into his next one. This one kind of sucks, reading this. There's an analyst by the name of Daniel Ahmad. He's huge on Twitter. He does like sales figures and stuff. He said that Rebirth is underperforming sales-wise, and he said it's selling about half of what Remake sold in the same time frame, and it's going to have a weaker tail prior to any PS Plus release. And in the first game, it shipped 3.5 million in the first 3 days. So I guess he said half of that So it's like 1.75 million. So not bad, but it could be better. But yeah, I guess like people are like now like they're saying it's because of the PS5 or something, and like I don't know, shit sucks. Because I'm playing it right now, and it's like I took like a couple week break from it, and it's like I'm playing it now. I'm just like, yeah, I'm fucking loving it now, and it just sucks seeing this because I mean you see a lot of people like they want remakes of games. It's just like they're not buying it, so it's just like what the hell. And then it's like with this, people are just saying, oh, it's because the PS5 doesn't sell a lot. There's only 50 million PS5s out there, and then it's like there's a lot of things with this. I don't know, Henry, because we were both playing it. What do you think about this underperforming, which sucks? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want it to perform well. I think I've spoken on the podcast that I have issues with Rebirth, but I still really overall really like it. It's my favorite game of the year so far, and it may be my game of the year by the time it rolls around. But I think it's interesting seeing this headline. So, and it really did surprise me, even with all the things people are countering with this. This game is still underperforming or underselling comparative to the first. It may be Square Enix's projections were lower, but I highly doubt it. Square Enix is known for having very high expectations for game sales, so it's unlikely. But it's probably underperforming in their eyes. But the counter to a lot of these points are, okay, so initially, Final Fantasy, you have to compare a lot of the first game, obviously, since that is what we're doing. You have to compare, well, the first game came out on the PlayStation 4, at the very tail end of the PlayStation 4, which had a much larger install base than the PlayStation 5 does right now. It had about twice the install base, so more people had access to buy the game. So that's a portion of that. Another portion is, this is a sequel. It's a direct sequel, so the only, or more often than not, the only people that are going to buy a game or buy this game are the people who have completed the first one, because it's you have to know what's going on in the first game in order to see this, to figure out what's going on in the second one, or understand what's going on in the second one. And what was the third point? I can't remember the third point off the top of my head, but there was a third point that people were throwing out there as well. Anyway, the point being is there are reasonings to why this is selling less, and even with those caveats, I still see this as, that's really disappointing, considering that this game, the first game, I felt was such a huge deal. Oh yeah, the third point was COVID. What?
Oh,
of course,
okay.
I'm trying to forget COVID.
There you go.
So the first game
sense.
came out in 2021, and it was, obviously people had nothing better to do than sit inside and play games all day. And now we've seen the video game market completely decline, or go in a massive decline, because people are actually going outside again and touching grass, and they're not just playing video games 100% of the time. So there was a pretty big storm.
Boo.
I know, right? What a bunch of losers. But there was a pretty big storm of things kind of going Final Fantasy Remake's way to make it sell a lot more than this one. But even with that being the case, I still think half is a huge drop off. Half of the original sales is still a huge drop off. Maybe it's an expected drop off from all of these things, but I don't see a lot of other analysts being very surprised by this or very disappointed by this. It seems like everybody seems to be pretty much like, oh yeah, well, that was expected given all of these factors. And to me, that still seems like that's really disappointing and really unfortunate. It doesn't really matter, because they've already confirmed they're working on the third game, which is the final game in this remake series, and they've already finished writing the game and everything. So this game, the third game's, I'm going to get the third game, and so I'm not going to miss out on anything because it's underperforming, but still I'd like the game to do well. I'd like it to be rewarded for being a good game. So I'm interested. Cam, what do you think about this? Do you think that's expected or no?
Why don't you buy it, sir?
Well,
why don't you buy it?
well, that's exactly what I was gonna say, which is kind of interesting. Is I'd be curious how many people like me are waiting for a sale. Obviously, we know gaming sales, we talked about it many times on here, gaming sales are heavily front loaded, but this is, and I'm not saying this is an exception because I don't think it is, but I think a sequel is more likely than the original to have people waiting for sales, which sounds kind of weird, but I think, in my mind, it's a little bit different, because you've already established you like it. You know, there's not that dipping your toe in factor. And so I feel like, and this is just completely unfounded, this is just, you know, me guessing at stuff, but I would not be surprised if more people wait for this to go on sale than the first game, like me. But I also I'm not going to sit here and say like there's going to be $1 million, or not $1 million, 1 million sales like in October, right? I don't think that's going to happen. But my point is that would be an interesting thing to see as time goes on, and obviously we'll probably end up revisiting this story at some point because it's one of the bigger releases of the year. Now, that aside, yeah, I mean, right there with you, Henry, I would 100% expect a drop-off, and I actually did expect a drop-off even, you know, before the game came out, but half is, I don't know about that. It's kind of alarming as somebody who's a fan of the first game. And yes, I'm sitting here again saying I realize I haven't bought this one yet, but I am a bit surprised. But I don't know, though. Like, there's a part of me, like, in the back of my mind that's keeps coming back to the whole PS4, PS5 thing, where we've seen this in prior console generations. Not being multi-plat makes a very big difference. So, yeah. I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's tough. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of PS5s out there now, so I'm like...
Can't really blame it.
Kind of hard to say. But, I mean, obviously, like you said, you know, this is not a game where the sequel would get stopped or canceled. Clearly, at this point, it's going to happen. So, less alarming, I think, than it potentially could be, but obviously still a bit of a bummer, for sure.
I think they're fine with it, maybe, because I know, like, Sony, they paid a bag to, like, Square Enix to make it exclusive. True. So it's like, that makes up for the lost sales, because, like, man, sometimes I wish this was, like, multi-platform, because if it was multi-platform, I think it's selling way more, because, like, you have, like, the advertising and the marketing from, like, the other companies, like Xbox and stuff, and then you have, like, people on Steam talking about it. Oh, okay. And, like, the Steam version is going to come out maybe later this year, even though it was on the ads, it says 3 months exclusive to the PS5. So it's like for the PC release, I'm interested to see like how well that performs when it comes out. And it just sucked because like this type of games, like I want it like on Xbox. Like it might not sell a lot on Xbox, but you're also getting like that reach over there. It's like, you know, Xbox are posting tweets about it, they're making videos on it, they're gonna see ads about it, and I think it was like people that are like watching like an Xbox ad of it, they might just buy it on PS5. So it's like even though like it's not like it's not gonna sell a lot, it wouldn't sell a lot on Xbox. Like you're still getting like that advertising or whatever for this game. And then when you look at like Final Fantasy 15, like it was kind of like a mid game when it came out at launch, but it's like the most like one of the most like top selling like Final Fantasy games, like 10 million I think. Even though like on Xbox it only sold like 1 million, and like on PS4 so like over like 80% of it. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I think it's time for like Square Enix to realize like multi-platform is like the way to go for these games. Because you see with Persona, right? Like Persona was always like or like mostly like PlayStation exclusive, but you also had like some smaller titles like on like the 3DS or whatever. And then you had like there's like the Versus game Persona 4 Ultimax or whatever on Xbox, which is just so random. And then now you're seeing like, oh, Persona's like on Xbox, and now like it's selling a lot, right? Even though it sold 1 million in a week, Persona 3 Reload, like they still think that's a success for them because they tweeted about it, right? Like, oh, we sold 1 million copies in a week, and like, oh, okay, that's like a success for them. And here it says that it peaked at 2.21 million daily active users at launch. So I'm guessing like it sold like 2 million, I think, maybe. So that's like my guess on the sales of it. So yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I just for the sake of conversation, I will push back on your point. Yeah. So I think that, you know, you kind of mentioned this, but you know, like 80% of sales or something like that of these games, typically, you know, JRPGs fall outside of the Xbox branch. Mm-hmm. So from a strictly business perspective, I think Square Enix is just looking at it as like, why would we even sell on that console. And I think we've talked about it on previous podcasts as well. Like more and more publishers and pretty much everybody is looking at Xbox and is like, why would we put our games out there at all for people to buy? Because nobody's buying them. Because I think that community has been kind of conditioned to either go with Game Pass, where they don't buy anything, or get it on another platform. And Square Enix looks at that and they say, well, Sony's going to pay us and absorb probably a very large sum of money that will probably make more money than whatever our sales on Xbox would have been. And then obviously like Switch is kind of out of the question at that point. Most games don't run on the Switch, so like you don't even have to really consider that. And then like Xbox, vast majority of your sales aren't on Xbox, and Sony's going to give you a nice sum to put that game on there anyway, and then you release on PC a year or so later, and the PC market eats it up for all the other people that weren't going to go on somewhere else. So I think Square Enix is probably doing the right thing to just take the exclusivity deal with Sony, which is probably more than compensating for the copies they're not selling on Xbox and Switch, and still they're making money off of PC. So I think they resell those games at full price when they come out a year later on PC. So like they're definitely not losing anything there. So that's I think Square Enix is probably doing the right thing in my mind. It's probably what I would do as well, just given the fact that such a small portion of the JRPG market is on the Xbox in general.
Yeah, but it's like you got to grow your franchise. You got to grow the audience, like on Xbox. I think like Persona, right? It's like it's not selling a lot, but it's like you're getting that free marketing from like Xbox. You're also getting like they negotiated a Game Pass bag, right, for like a year. Yeah. So it's like I don't know.
I think that's the best counterpoint. Cam, go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna jump in. I actually, and obviously, there's no right or wrong answer to this whole discussion, right? But I kind of fall more on the Henry side of this specific point, only in the sense that, like, I hear you, Alexis, in terms of like growing the base, but like, I guess my counter to that would be how many more people have an Xbox that don't have a PlayStation that want to play Final Fantasy. Like, I think that if you're talking from the perspective of Square, I think 100% it's better to take the big paycheck from Sony, because I don't think you're going to make that many sales on Xbox. Basically the same thing Henry said. Now, if you're talking from the perspective of Sony, like whether or not it's a smart decision to pay Square Enix, I think that's debatable.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't necessarily know that if you say, hey, yeah, Square released it on Xbox, I don't know that Microsoft's going to take that many sales from you. Like, honestly, I really don't think they would. So I don't think it was a great decision for Sony, probably. Now, I also don't know the mechanics behind it, right? Like, if Sony's getting a big fat chunk of each copy sold, more than usual, because they're helping finance, like, maybe it's better for them. But, back to the point, you guys were discussing, like, yeah, I think it's really smart for Square to do this, because, like, I think one thing we haven't really necessarily brought up either is that in the context of this franchise, right? My thing, Alexis, would be like, how many people love Final Fantasy and want to play a new Final Fantasy that don't already have a Sony console? Like, that's kind of my thinking here, is like,
yeah,
I doubt there's a ton of people that are clamoring for Final Fantasy VII that don't already have a PlayStation, right? Like, those people are probably just like, me and maybe one of y'all as well, where I don't have an Xbox, but I do have a PlayStation because I like these franchises already. Now, I hear your point. If we were talking like, Horizon Zero Dawn or something, and you were sitting here being like, oh yeah, like if Sony paid, Guerrilla to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to put Horizon on PlayStation, like, that's a totally different discussion, I think, because you don't have that built-in fan base. But for a big franchise like Final Fantasy, I think it's a smart decision. I would also flip this on its head and say, like, if you came to me and you were like, with Halo, if, let's just, hypothetically say that Halo was like, Microsoft was paying for Halo to be, which they own them now, right? I'm just speaking hypothetically here, but if they were paying them to be like, yeah, don't put this on PlayStation, I would think that'd be a waste too. Because I'm like, anybody who wants to play Halo already has an Xbox. Yeah. So like, they're not gonna, play it on PlayStation, right? So I guess that's my kind of take on all this. So
Yeah, you said does so like I don't know. It's because like it's because they don't have that fan base like on Xbox. Like I think I mean we had like like Final Fantasy 13 like it was like huge like on Xbox 360, right? And it's like you go to 15 and then Xbox has like the marketing rights for it, and then it's like they're building that fan base and it's just like it's gone. Because like there is no one on like Xbox gonna buy it because they're all going to PlayStation. And I guess like I don't know, it's like a whole thing with this. You gotta wonder though, is it worth it for Sony to like buy this? Like, cause like it's not selling well, it is selling a lot, but it's not selling like high numbers that they want.
Yep.
I don't know if it's worth it.
I think that's an interesting debate.
Yeah.
And honestly, once the sales shake out, we could probably have a better answer. But yeah, I think that's an interesting discussion point too. Is just like, is it worth them, cutting Microsoft out of the equation for that period of time? I don't know that it is. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and if you remember on the remake in the box art, it says it was exclusive for 1 year. So I guess I think there were some Xbox people that were hoping that after the year was over they would buy it. Yeah. So then it's like it's not, and then after that year it's not going to Xbox. Like now you just fucked over your Xbox fans, and it's like so like now it's just like people on PlayStation are owning it. Like they're only gonna buy it on there. So it's the whole thing. So yeah. That's enough for this. Let's get into our last topic. This is an interesting one. This is one from like Wario64 on Twitter. He said that now you can get emulators on your phone from the App Store, because before you had to sideload it from like a website from like the person that was making the emulator. So now you can just go to the App Store, type it in, and just like get it. And now you can get NES games, SNES, N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo DS, which is surprising because I didn't expect this to have the DS on there. Even the N64, I was like, oh shit, let's go. So it was like, I downloaded it, and you get the ROMs online or whatever. I got legally. Legally
for games you own.
Yeah, I own them. Yeah,
yep, sure.
Yeah, I own them. So it's like there's no problem with that. So I got Chrono Trigger, right? And it's like it runs smooth as hell. It's like damn. I just wish that I could just screen share it to like a TV or something and just play it. I'll have to try that out and see if it works good like that, because I hate playing on the phone for like emulators and stuff, because it doesn't feel right. Do any of you have iPhone, or are you just like on Android?
I'm Android.
I'm iPhone. I'm iOS.
Okay, so then it's like, you remember hearing about this, right? Are you gonna play this, or is like, nah, I'm good?
Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I mean, like, I have emulators on my Steam Deck. I have emulators on, my PC, and if I really wanted to, I could play them there. And I think we've talked about this on a previous episode, but like playing on a phone, just in general, like for buttons and analog sticks and all sorts of stuff like that, it's like I can't do that. It's not how I'm built. It's not how I'm wired, and like it's frustrating to me not having that tactile input and skirting off the analog stick and having to move my thumb back and put it back on, or whatever the case. Try to figure out where the buttons are underneath my thumb, that kind of thing. So. There's not really much of a huge thing here for me, or at least no incentive. The real interesting thing for me was like, why did this just happen? Like that was kind of when I saw you put this on the doc, that was like the first question that I had was why the heck did this just happen? And apparently Apple updated their iOS terms of service, and they made it so that you can now have quote unquote code that runs outside of the binary, which essentially just means that an app can run files that are not within the app natively. So that means essentially ROMs for these particular emulators. And they also made a specific caveat to this, that it was for retro consoles only, which I think is an interesting topic, because how do you define what is retro? Like for me, obviously something like N64 prior is retro, but it's tough for me to admit that the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii era is retro, but it most certainly is at this point, just definitionally. It makes me feel old saying that, but it is probably the truth. So where do you draw the line with that is interesting. But for these, I think it's probably okay. I mean, we talked about this on a recent episode, as long as you're not emulating current stuff, I think you're totally cool. So in this instance, I think more power to the people. Apple would not do this if they expected this to be struck down in court or for them to take some huge, legal hit or monetary hit from it. So, good for the people who can and will want to emulate. I'm happy for them. As long as you do it legally. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it's about damn time because I'm getting tired of Nintendo not putting Pokemon games on the Switch. So now I can just... Oh my god,
there's so many.
Dude, they put Pokemon Red, Blue, and Crystal like on the 3DS, but those shops are gone. So it's like... Yeah. Now, like, come on, man, just put it on the Switch online. Like, it's not going to hurt anybody. And I guess now people are like, oh, okay, I'll just get this emulator on the iPhone. I still want to try and, like... Because you can link up your controller through, like, Bluetooth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to try and see if that works, and then just screen share it to the TV. It might be a lot of work, which is like, but like it's like there's no way to get these games because you're gonna pay like an arm and a leg just to like play like fucking Pokemon Crystal or Pokemon Fire Red or something. So yeah, it's like these emulators. I don't know if you want to add anything to this, Cam, because you got like an Android. So if you want to say anything or you're good.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, I have an Android, so I have been able to do these for quite some time, and it's like I never have taken advantage of that. I'm similar to Henry in the sense that I mean, really, honestly, I can't imagine a use case where I would rather play something on my phone than just playing it somewhere else. Like, I guess if it was emulators that I had ever played in the past, it was almost always done on my PC or like a laptop if I had a laptop at the time. So it's like I don't anticipate a scenario where I'm just dying to play a game on my phone. Funny enough, we did talk about mobile gaming last episode of the podcast, and I do see a use case there for like, it tends to lean younger, I would say, in modern day gaming, but a lot of people do like playing mobile games. So I do think there's an avenue there, but I've always, and this is maybe me being the odd man out here, like in terms of understanding this, I guess, but I've always found it kind of hard to picture emulation on phones being super commonly used, only in the sense that anybody who's dying to play a really old retro game, I just feel like you're not going to play it on a phone. Maybe I'm naive, but I think if I'm just dying to play like, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg or something,
let's go.
I'm going to
I fucking love that game.
Play that on the computer, you know what I mean? And I feel like that goes for most people. Like you're not I don't know. I just feel like if you're going to dig up some old game, you'll probably have another better device to play it on. If that's probably the best way I could put it. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, it's cool that it's a thing now, but I have no personal interest. I've tried the one genre I've ever thought I could probably play on a phone was turn-based RPGs. And even then I tried one time and I was like, I hate playing on the phone. So I just stopped. So there's zero use case for me. For emulation on phones, but it's cool that they allow it now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want to try that just connecting it to the TV and using my controller. I want to see if that changes it, because I'm with you on that. It's like just playing on the phone fucking sucks. Because I was playing Chrono Trigger for like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. So it's like, damn. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll just try and see if that works. So sure. Yeah, that's it for the news. It was kind of a slow news week this time around. So yeah, let's get into our game impressions, right? Henry, you want to start with yours? You got some interesting games on here.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah, go first. Yeah, I'll let you go.
I will start.
Curveball.
Okay, yeah. Alexis keeping us on our toes here on the Plug and Play podcast.
Love it.
Okay, so last week I finished up Persona 3 Reload. So I do have some final thoughts on that. I was very concerned that I wasn't going to get back to this because I don't normally drop games. I normally try to play a game to completion and then come back and not have to come back to it. But Final Fantasy Rebirth, that was something I felt took precedence over a remake of an older game. I guess they're both technically remakes of an older game, but you get what I mean. But anyway, Reload is a little bit more direct in terms of its adaptation than Rebirth was, obviously. But I'm a big Persona fan. Specifically, 4 and 5 are the ones that I've played. That formula, from what I understand, 1 and 2, which funny, I guess we're talking about this now because I think 1 and 2 are now rumored to be in development. Or I think have been confirmed from reports that they're remaking 1 and 2.
Even
the thing
4.
about that, and 4 as well. Yeah, I think
that's
that
crazy.
one. I think 4 is the one I'm obviously looking forward to. It's my favorite JRPG I've ever played, and I just am fine with another excuse to go back to it. But I think 1 and 2 are interesting because 1 and 2 are basically nothing like 3, 4, and 5. 3 is really the first one that really tried to introduce this daily cycle and the high school elements and stuff like that. 1 and 2 are way more traditional in terms of being a spin-off to Shin Megami Tensei, which if you didn't know, Persona is a spin-off series of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, and Persona 1 and 2 are more so like those games. Persona 3, 4, and 5 are kind of their own things, more so than 1 and 2 at least. But anyway, point being is I played 3, I played 4 and 5, and I really enjoy 4. I really like 5. The problem I had with 5 was I didn't like its cast very much. I found it to be a very middling cast, and when you're spending 120 hours, or if you're Cam, 40 hours with the cast, then it's got to be a good one. It's got to be one that really makes you stick around. And so I think I'll start at the top with my overall impressions of this game. It's very, very good. This is Persona 3, but with a Persona 5 coat of paint. The quality of life, the style, everything has been redone here to kind of be more in line with the modern Persona perspective of what made 5 very successful. The music has been completely redone, which I will touch on in a bit, but it is fantastic here, or I'll go into a little bit more in a bit, but it is fantastic here. And, I think overall, this is probably my least favorite Persona game. But only by a small, teensy-weensy bit. They are really all clumped together there, because 4 is my favorite, but that's because I think its story is good. Its characters, I think, it's probably my favorite JRPG cast ever, which is what makes it my favorite. And obviously the formula of Persona is good throughout all of them. But 5 is really good because obviously its style and its dungeon design was completely rehauled. It was if you know what I'm talking about, 5 has very unique dungeons where everything is a little bit more well done. 4 and 3 both have procedurally generated tunnel dungeons. They're very uninteresting. They're very boring to get through, and I really didn't enjoy my time dungeon crawling in both of those games very much. 3's cast, I think, is better than 5's, but not as good as 4's. And the thing that I see a lot of people touting for 3 is the story. They say, dang, this story is really good. It's the best story of any Persona game. It's good. It's good. It's not like this outstanding JRPG story to me. It's an odd. There's a few issues I had with it. So, for one, this game's story is pretty backlogged, and by that I mean not much happens within the first half of the game, and then pretty much everything story related or interesting happens in the second half. Fortunately, like I was saying, the game's systems and going through the daily cycle and leveling up and all that other stuff is kind of carries the first half of the game. But overall, like, you have your typical JRPG stuff happening in most of the second half of the game, and while it's good, it's not great. It's I think at the end of the day, I put 80 hours into this game. It took me 80 hours to beat it, and I don't know if 80 hours is like the time necessary to tell the story that this game did. It probably could have done a better job, but still, like, not a bad story. I think some of the cast is like not focused on at all. It's very interesting because I think when I see a lot of promotional material for this game, I see Aegis, which, if you're not familiar with who Aegis is, she's like this blonde, cute robot girl, which is also interesting. Like, this cast of characters has some very odd standouts. Like, one of your party members is like a dog, and then like Aegis, who's like a robot, and it's like, okay, these two really stick out. Just a bunch of high schoolers that are all going to high school. But like, Aegis is brought in about halfway through the game, and then like they don't ever really do anything interesting with her throughout pretty much literally until the very end of the game. She's not anywhere near even a minor focus, and it's interesting because I think we brought up recently, they're bringing over this like DLC or whatever the final chapter of this game is at the end of the year, and it's completely focusing on Aegis, and it's supposed to touch on all this, story elements that weren't really wrapped up in the original game. And yeah, I think you definitely need that because Aegis is like weirdly not really focused on at all in this game. There are some characters that come in and basically come out pretty quick, and it just feels pretty rushed. One major complaint I have about this game is I used a walkthrough. I have been open about that on this podcast. I used a walkthrough because in Persona 4 Golden, you really didn't need a walkthrough to try and get everything done because in that game, they gave you like an extra 3 months to basically wrap up all of your connections and stuff at the end of the game. That was like part of what they added in the quote-unquote golden elements. In 5, I didn't really know that because I was still fairly new to the series at the time, and I was unable to romance the people I wanted to because I was putting time into the wrong places. So I went into this game knowing that, and I used a walkthrough, and I still, even using a walkthrough, was unable to 100% all of the social connections in this game.
My God.
I missed it by 2 days. Which is very, very frustrating. So the way that works is even in the walkthrough is like you can only spend 1 day in the dungeon a month, which like every month you have like another boss fight that you have to get to the top of this dungeon in order to progress. And it's like you can only spend 1 day in the dungeon a month because you will need all that extra time. And then there was also an element that I didn't take very seriously in the walkthrough that was like you need to have a persona that is aligned with the attribute that particular social link has, and it will give you more experience for that particular social link. I was like, I don't got time for that. I'm not changing out my persona just to go talk to somebody. I'm not going into a whole nother menu to change out my stuff just to do that. Surely that's not a big deal. And no, like if you don't do that, you will not be able to 100% the game. And so like I ended up the game like with 2 social links that I did not fully 100% because of that. I also knocked the game down to easy because one,
easy.
To easy. Yeah.
The whole game.
the absolute disgust.
Yeah, I know, right? Alexis, what? Yeah. Tell me what I've done to defend you. So
wait, you did the whole game on easy?
I did the vast majority of the game on easy. Yes.
Wow, not even normal.
No, not even normal.
Okay, because I'm playing on Merciless, and I think it's hard enough, but it's not like too easy, which I like.
See, okay, so I will defend myself here. I'm honestly a big proponent of like play games on easy. Who cares? Like it's your deal. But like in this instance, I don't think Persona is necessarily very difficult either. The way so. This gets into the whole design philosophy around Persona. So the dungeon crawls themselves are not necessarily difficult because at any point you can just leave. You leave, you can go get resources, you can then come back another day, you have full health, and you just keep going until you can't anymore, and then you just leave again and you repeat the process. The problem with that is you will have to use more days to do that. And in all honesty, the combat in Persona is not very compelling. It is pretty much, like you go up to an enemy and you spam all of your moves at them until you find out their weaknesses. And then once you find out the enemy's weaknesses for that particular set of floors, you just basically spam them over and over and over again until you run out of like resources and SP to then hit them with the weaknesses, and then you just move on. It's a very rinse repeat, kind of combat scenario, and it gets old pretty quickly. And really the only thing that makes it rewarding at all is like managing your time alongside it. But I realized very quickly, like I'm not either resource efficient or good enough at this game to do an entire dungeon crawl for this section of this month in one day. Like I would have to go and buy a bunch of items, and I was already broke at the beginning of the game anyway. It's so difficult to have the money that you need to procure these resources that you need to stay in the dungeon for that long, that I was like, I really can't do this very efficiently. So I just knocked the game down to easy, and it became so much nicer. And then like towards the end of the game, I really didn't care about dungeon crawling at all. Like the last like quarter of the game, like probably third of the game, I just ran by all the enemies. Like I just ran by enemies just to get to the top of the floors and move on. Because I was like, I've done this. Enemies were repeating, and like there's 265 floors in the game, like that you have to go through. It gets old. So like I was just running by stuff. So that's why I knocked it down to easy, and it made my life a lot easier towards the end, because it meant I didn't have to worry about grinding and dealing with any of that extra stuff. But anyway. So at the end of the day, though, what you're really here for is the day cycle, the story, and the characters. And I still think the story is good. I still think the characters are good. There are definitely like some standout characters that I really like got along with a lot, or I really jived with a lot more than others. But like in Persona 4, I felt like I loved almost all of them. Like maybe one or two I didn't really like. Persona 5, I thought all of them were pretty middling. In this game, I think there's like a handful that are good and a handful that are middling. So like, that's where I kind of land on that. But at the end of the day, I was a little bummed out I didn't get all the social links, but I looked at the trophy percentages for this, and like it's the hardest trophy to get in the game is to get all the max out all social links, and it's like not even. It's totally understandable why.
I hate that.
You have to, and that's what I thought too, right?
Because Persona 5 Royal, you didn't really need to do the social link. Well, you had to do some, but you didn't have to max them out.
Well, you don't have to max out any, but it does incentivize you to do that, and a lot of the story, like. If you like the characters in that game, which I think a lot of I think this is probably the weakest social links in all of the Persona series as well. Yes. But like again,
there's a couple that come in mind.
If you do come, if you're somebody who wants to see all those social links to the end, which I think that's a huge part of this game, it's almost impossible for you to do that without a walkthrough, without really trying. Like you won't be able to do it. Which I think is really disappointing, and I think will disappoint a lot of people. But like, I think that's probably pretty standard for all of these games. I can't say that with Persona 4 because I played Golden, which really allows you to do that, and I can say it's probably fairly accurate with 5 because I certainly wasn't able to. But at the end of the day, I would say play 4 or 5 first. If you really like the formula and story and characters of 4 and 5, I'd say Persona 3 is a really good game too. And this is definitely like the version to play. You should definitely play Reload. Do not play like the older versions. Like this game has all the modern tweaks that you want and all the great music and aesthetic that you would want from seeing Persona like 5 or something like that, which is great. But I don't know, Alexis, I know you've been playing it. Like, do either of you have any comments on Persona 3 at all? Based on what I've said or anything like that?
What was it? So it was like, because when I was playing it, I was only like, oh man, I'm trying to remember. I was early though. I was like probably like 25%, 30%. So it was like, I didn't really progress that much. But for the battle system, you said you didn't like it because it's like rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the case for like most Persona games. So do you feel the same for like 4 and 5?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay. I'd say that there's more. I think 4 it was new to me, so like I really didn't figure out how repetitive it was until a lot later in the game. And then 5, I think they added a lot of mechanics to try and remedy how repetitive the combat is. Like recruiting personas after battle and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of elements there that they kind of added to try and make it a little different. And just dungeon crawling in general isn't as repetitive because you have unique dungeons with distinct layouts and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, so yeah, I think for the battles, I think I fucking love it because it's like, because I did play like 4 for like 30 hours. I do want to finish that, and it's like, oh man, I don't know, because like I think in Reload, I think I really like the animations and everything that they do in like in the battle system.
Yeah.
So it's like
they're great. They just don't change after the first time you see them. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because I'm like itching to go back to it. That's why. Because like I'm on Rebirth, and I'm like, oh shit, let me go back to Reload once I'm done with the Rebirth. So yeah, and then the story, I don't know, I can't really comment on it because it's like because I did play the original like 3 FES.
Oh, you did? Did you beat it?
No, I was far into it though. I was like in October or something.
Oh yeah.
So it was like I stopped because they announced the remake or something. I'm like, okay, I think I might just wait and see like if it's good. And yeah, I mean, it's basically almost the same thing except some things are changed. I think the music, I think I like the original music more than the Reload.
Really, it's a different feel.
Oh man, it's tough because like some tracks are better in the original, but then in Reload there's like new tracks that are way better. So it's like it's mix and match. So which sucks because I think the music in Reload, it's like you said, spectacular. I fucking agree with that. It's like it's so good. So yeah, I mean that's all I have to say about Reload until I get more into it. But I'm still having like the same thoughts like I did playing the original, where like it's so weird because you said 5 was middling for like the story, or was it the characters?
The characters for sure.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. That was me with 3 when I played FES. When I played it, I'm like, damn, these characters suck. I'm like, I'd rather have 5 or like 4 because like 3 is like, it's so weird because like it's like different dynamic between 4 and 5. I think because it's like it's very different. It's kind of hard to like explain without it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it until I get back into it.
I don't know, Cam. Did I scare you off?
No, you're good. I was just going to say, I think you guys had a really interesting discussion about difficulty in games, which is a funny thing. I don't think we've talked about much on the podcast, but is obviously kind of a hot button topic in gaming. I for one, am like 100% just whichever one you want to do. Is like, it doesn't. The thing is, it doesn't affect me, first of all, and then second of all, it's also like, I know some people, the first thing that jumps to mind is like Baldur's Gate 3. I had friends that really loved the story and they weren't super into the gameplay. I'm like, if you want to like crank it to easy because you want to see the story, like, cool. I personally, it's kind of counterintuitive to what you said, Henry, which is really funny. I actually get bored if I turn it to easy because like with the Persona combat, it is so... And I actually do agree with you, by the way. I know a lot of people love the series combat. I like the combat, but I do think it gets repetitive. But like for me, I take almost the opposite approach to you, where it's like I put it to hard so that I have like a reason to care about the gameplay. Because if I didn't, I feel like the gameplay would just get even more boring. So it's kind of a funny argument, or not even argument, discussion there. So. Just wanted to mention that, but also as in regards to 3, like we've talked about 3 on the podcast before because both of you guys, I think at the same time were playing the remake, and I, again, this is one that I'm waiting on, but I actually don't know if I ever mentioned to you guys that I played FES like probably the first like 10 hours or so. I actually got like a good chunk into the game, and I know it's a very long game, but I put like a good solid 10, 15 hours in. I personally was not feeling the story at all or the characters. So I'm really curious to maybe try the remake out and see if, I feel any differently with some hindsight, because that was a while ago. That was like literal probably 3 or 4 years ago. So I'd be curious to kind of revisit it, but I was not feeling it at all. And I think, honestly, a big part of it for me, at least, is it seemed, and I think you guys were talking about the vibe, kind of, it's a very, at least in my interpretation, it was like a lot more serious than 4 and 5. Like 4 and 5 have a lot of goofiness built in, and I wasn't, through the part that I was in 3, was not getting any of that. And I'm like, I feel like I'm getting all this serious and nothing to balance it out.
It's very stiff.
You know, that I'm used to from 4. Yeah, so like that was what was kind of missing for 3 from me, just personally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Go for it, Alexis.
Yeah, it's because it's because the characters. Because you said you're like 10 hours in, Cam.
Yep.
In Reload, they give you options. I think they do it way better in the remake. So I think I think you'll like it more, because I think I'm loving it more than I did when I was playing FES. Because they did a lot of changes to like the character interactions and stuff, which I think was a weak part when I did play 3 originally. So yeah, get it on sale, because it's going down like pretty quick. So it might go down to like 20, I think, at the end of the year. So or like 25, I think. And I think that's like a perfect price point if you want to check it out.
For sure. Yeah, I'd say, Cam, how long did you say you put into the original?
Like 10, 15 hours, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'd say, like I said, like this cast is not like my favorite cast in any Persona game, but like it is. I think that some of the characters are hit and miss. I think the early characters that you meet are honestly some of the weaker ones. Like Yukari is not like a very particularly interesting character, who's like the pretty girl that you meet at the very beginning of the game. And then like Junpei. A lot of people hate Junpei.
Yep.
He's supposed to be the bro, right? But then he's like he's a fucking asshole to you at times.
Dude, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, he's supposed to be your bro, and then like he eventually he starts showing that he's like kind of a douche a lot of the time. But like the thing is, I actually ended up really liking Junpei. He was like one of my favorite characters by the end of the game. But at the very beginning of the game, I hated the guy. I was like, this guy sucks. Like he's kind of a not good person, like in a lot of ways. So like. Go for it, Alexis.
Yeah, I'm like, why aren't you like Yosuke or something, or like Ryuji?
Oh yeah, Yosuke's easily the best bro in the entire franchise.
Yeah, I love him.
But like the characters definitely are hit and miss. The ones that you're introduced to early on are not great. And like I said, the game is super backlogged with its story, so like the story really doesn't even get kicking until like halfway through the game. So the fact that you weren't super into the game's story or characters early on is honestly totally understandable. The only thing that got me through that first half of the game was that loop of going another day. Okay, well, I'll just do one more social link. I'll study one more on, afternoon, or I'll go to the dungeon and crawl just a little bit more. Like that I think that loop in this franchise, or at least in 3, 4, and 5, is really well done and really compelling. And I think that the idea in general of playing a game that is this is an entire year, and you have X number of days in a year to do everything that you can, and certain days certain things are open to you, and certain days there's holidays and the story progresses over a linear course of time. That's pretty interesting. You don't see that very often, or at all, really. I can't think of another example like that, or at least this directly an example. And I think you really do have to kind of push through, which is unfortunate, because we've also talked about that on the podcast before as well. But like, I really don't believe in the saying, "Oh yeah, you just play 15, 20 hours of the game and then it gets good." Like, I think the game is still good that first 15 to 20 hours, or however long it takes you to get about halfway through it. But I do think that it's definitely weakest there, and I can see it scaring some people off. It didn't scare me off, but I can definitely see it scaring people off now that you mention it. But yeah, that's all I have for Persona 3 Reload. Still a great game. I'd still certainly recommend it, especially if you like the Persona 4 or 5. I'd definitely give it a shot. And I think a lot of people want to give it a shot after playing 5, because 5 was the huge mainstream blow-up for that franchise. But transitioning, I was talking about the music earlier. I bought a while back a package of Persona 3, 4, and 5 rhythm games, which I find it very funny because I don't often play rhythm games and I don't often play JRPGs. They're pretty rare additions to my gaming catalog, but I feel like this podcast has been nothing but JRPGs and rhythm games. Like, that's all we ever talk about, which is very interesting to me. But in this case, I bought this a long time ago because I really like the music of 4 and 5, and so I was like, oh, like I'll check out these rhythm games. That sounds like a good time. And I played 4, I played 5, and I didn't want to play 3 because I was like, I'm going to play 3 eventually. I know I am, but I hadn't gotten around to it until now. The problem with that is that the music has been, like Alexis was saying, completely redone from the previous games, and this Persona 3 Dancing in the Moonlight that I played has only tracks that are remixed from the original versions. So I don't have like this huge connection to these tracks that I would have for 4 and 5. So I was basically listening to music that I had almost never listened to before. And while it's still fun, Persona 3 and Persona 5 Dancing in X games are pretty much just fan service games. It's interesting to talk about Persona spin-off games because, as Alexis alluded to a little bit earlier, there's like a dozen of these dang spin-off games for this franchise. It's like, it's weird how many spin-off games they have. Like Persona 4 has a fighting game and a rhythm game, and like 5 has like a beat 'em up game and a tactics game and obviously a rhythm game. So like it's just interesting to see how they've really milked this franchise as much as they have.
Oh yeah, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
They're releasing like a Persona 3 prequel to like Steam and Switch. I don't know if you heard of it. It's like a mobile game in Japan only, and it's coming to like Steam. It's called the G mode or something.
Is it interesting at all?
No, okay.
The graphics are questionable. It's like pixel, but here, I'll try and find a link. It's called the G mode Archives, and it's like Persona 3 Aegis, the first mission for Switch and PC. This was just like announced like a couple of days ago. That's why it's like another spin-off right here.
It's totally possible to do a prequel with Persona 3, to be quite honest. There is like story that is definitely heavily alluded to and discussed within Persona 3 that happens before the events of the game. So that Aegis is certainly a part of. So it makes sense. But yeah, no problem. But anyway, Persona 4 Dancing All Night is easily like way better than Persona 3 and 5. Persona 3 and 5 were definitely like, I think Persona 4 Dancing All Night must have sold really much better than they anticipated it selling. But like Persona 4 Dancing All Night has like a complete story mode to it, and like a lot of extra content that makes it like a compelling buy. Persona 3 and 5 were like discounted and sold together. Or at least when I got them, they were. And like, there is no story mode. The story mode is you get to have like little conversations with your crewmates, your party members from the game. Like if you complete a certain condition within the game, like hitting enough perfect notes, or getting the highest rating in X number of songs or something like that. They're not very compelling. Particularly, they're not very interesting. I ended up just skipping them because at the end of them you get like rewards for sitting through them, and I was like, it's not even worth sitting through them. These are not well written and they're not very interesting. So I was like, yeah, I don't care. There's not that many songs in this game. There's like maybe 15, 16, something like that, and I was able to easily get through all of them in like 3 hours, something along those lines, and a lot of the social link stuff within the game. At the end of the day, this is clearly like a big thing for like, it's fan service. This is a fan service game. This is only going to be for hardcore fans of Persona 3. I don't know if I'd particularly recommend it if you really were like super into the music of Persona 3 Reload. You're not going to get the same itch scratched here. It's more so if you're a fan of the original in some capacity. It was a short play though, so I just found it interesting to touch on based on the fact that I just played 3 Reload and that there's so many spin-offs for that franchise. I just find it funny to even note that. The final thing that I was going to touch on before I pass it off is a game that came out very recently. It was free on Game Pass, and there was a lot of pre-release buzz on this, depending on where you looked. I was not a part of any of that pre-release buzz, but when it came out, I saw a lot of people talking about it and discussing it, and that is Herald Halibut, which is a very unique and interesting game. Are either of you two familiar with Herald Halibut at all?
I have seen some gameplay of it, and it was very odd.
I only know because of Open Critic. I was thinking about drafting it, but then I saw that it was just like you just go talk to people, and it's like all in claymation. I liked how it looks, so that's the thing.
Well, that's exactly right. Is this game it got a lot of attention due to its art style. So Herald Halibut is completely claymation. Like everything, it's not even like, oh, we used a specific filter or something that makes it look, claymation. Like the developers made these models and imported them into the game, and like all the backdrops and settings are completely handmade, and the game looks really, really good. Like I would say it looks better than some actual claymation movies I've seen before, and it's like obviously an interactive medium. It's not even like an actual like handmade set for a film. So like it's definitely a visually striking game. It's interesting you said Fantasy Critic, because that is the main place I saw this game discussed, is people drafting this game for Fantasy Critic. And for those who are not aware, this game did not review very well. I think it's sitting at like a 73 on Metacritic right now. It was not very well received, very middling reception. And so I said, well, it'll be something cool to talk about on the podcast, see why people don't like it. And honestly, the art style did intrigue me. So I was interested to see how this game played out. And fortunately, it's free on Game Pass day one for any subscribers like myself. So I was able to pop it in or just start it up and see what it was about. And this game is beautiful. It is a wonderful art style that you will be very happy to see for the first 30 minutes, and then you'll be like, okay, well, where's the game? When are we going to get to the fun part? This is very pretty, but where's the fun part? And it's not really very fun. This game is like it's a story-based game. A lot of people are likening it to an adventure game. So like running around environments and interacting with things and stuff like that. I'd say it's not even that, because like adventure games normally have puzzles and stuff, and Herald Halibut has no puzzles, or it's such a light puzzling, if you even want to call it that I wouldn't really even call it that. But like it's all about just basically going from point A to point B and talking to people. And so the concept behind this game is or at least the story is fairly interesting. So this is a rocket ship gets launched off into space during the Cold War. We think we're going to blow everybody up, and some people are like, well, we got to find another planet. The ship crash lands on an oceanic planet that's all water, and they basically establish a society underwater that like they have to go from point A to point B through like water tubes and stuff like that. This game is very British. It has a very dry sense of humor. Like most people have a British accent, and it's very clearly made by British people. And it's very wholesome, I would also say. It's a very charmingly wholesome game. There's not a lot of conflict. The conflict that there is very minor. And when it's introduced, it's not taken very seriously. This is more of a charming, wholesome experience where you're interacting with people, and learning about them and their problems, and how to help talk them through it and stuff like that. I played this game for about 2 hours, and nothing interesting happened. I cleaned things. I cleaned several things, actually. You play as Harold, who's a janitor. So, like, most of your time is talking to people, running back and forth just to tell people different things. You're literally like a messenger. I guess they don't have, like, phones on this particular spaceship futuristic society. So you have to run back and forth and deliver messages via just orally. And, cleaning things, mopping things up, cleaning graffiti off of walls. It's very mundane, very boring. No story progresses, and this is the very early hours of the game. 2 hour. It's a 12-hour game, and the developers are pretty open about how short this game is. Like you can beat it within 4 hours if you really just kind of ran your way through it, and like I said, the game story just started, like pretty much at the 2-hour mark, and that was after a long 2 hours of doing chores and talking to people, and that was it. And it wasn't particularly compelling stuff. At that point, like Harold meets an alien. I guess spoiler. It's not really a spoiler because it's like a huge part of the playthrough, but and like it's a huge part of the trailers and stuff like that. But he meets an alien, and like that's like the rest of the game is like him interacting with this alien, and they're like showing each other's societies and stuff like that. But like honestly, I was too bored. And really the only thing you're going to be coming here for is the art style. And once you get your eye full of that, it's like, okay, I don't see the interest in really continuing here. I'm glad I got to play it for free day one. That's always cool. But yeah, I'd say like if you're looking for a completely story-based game and you like a Wes Anderson kind of vibe, like British humor kind of deal, if anything I said sounded compelling to you, I think you'll probably enjoy it. But like this is just not my kind of game. It's not my kind of writing, not my kind of humor. So like I easily have fallen off of it. I'm never going to go back to it, but I'm still, glad I got to experience it. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's all of my gaming impressions for the podcast.
Yeah, it was good that you played that because I was interested in learning about that because, like, I know the game is like, how many gigabytes? Like 70 gigabytes, I think.
I'm not sure.
It's a lot.
It wouldn't surprise me. I streamed it over.
Oh, shit, okay.
So I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, I saw people talking about the demo was like 20 gigabytes. So I was like, damn. It's because everything was digitally scanned into the game. So
Yeah, I can see that being a huge thing. But like, I mean, that's everything nowadays, right? If you want to play Call of Duty, you got to set aside half your hard drive.
Oh my god.
So.
Yep. Yeah, good thing you played that because I was interested in it like at first because I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's just talking, right? Just speaking to other people and stuff.
So I'll piggyback on that. What made you want to draft it? Did you just say because I
cool.
think that yeah, just literally the art style, yeah.
That and I'm like, okay, the story might go crazy because you're just talking to people. So
yeah, I mean, admittedly, not a bad thought process, right? Like if you're gonna double down on having nothing but talking in your game, it better be good. Mm-hmm. So like, I get that. But yeah, it clearly did not pay off for them. I think it's niche. I don't think it's bad. I think it's very niche.
It's cool to see stuff like this.
Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate it probably won't sell well because it's very niche.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, that's everything you got.
That's everything I got.
All right, let's go to Cam next. What's up, man? What you're playing? We're talking about Dead Space. You finished the whole game, or is it just?
I've started and finished the whole game since the last episode, 100%, my friend. So, yeah, I'll start there. I'll start with Dead Space Remake. So I have obviously, been gaming my whole life. I think all three of us have, and so you hear a lot about certain franchises. You hear a lot about certain games. Dead Space is one of those things as a horror fan, both movies, video games, books even. As a horror fan, then I was like, oh, I got to get around to playing this eventually. So I was really glad to kind of dive in and play this remake. Some interesting feedback from me with this game. So I think first and foremost, right, the story I think is okay. It's very standard, I think, for this kind of genre. So there's nothing mind blowing there, but it was sufficient. Like it's not bad. I don't mean to make it sound like it's a bad story. It's a good story, but it's it's nothing crazy.
It
I
serves
would say.
its purpose.
And like yes, and I think it's probably better done in the remake. I would wager a guess because apparently, I guess Isaac didn't talk in the original game. I can't imagine this game without him talking.
He did not. He only started talking in the second game.
Interesting. So, and that's always been kind of a fascinating thing to me, especially playing the game, is like, I don't really understand that decision maybe in the original one, and when you play the remake, I'm sure this will make more sense hearing this, but it's hard to envision this game without him talking. He doesn't talk a ton, but there's other characters that talk pretty frequently in the game, so I just have a hard time imagining this being the type of game where the silent protagonist is just getting spoken to by these people and like not responding in some way. So I don't know. I think I picture this very like RE4 in terms of that dynamic, where if I just had Leon not saying a single word, I think it would be an awkward game. So like I kind of feel the same way about this, having played the remake, I guess. So that's kind of my thing on the story. The ending is the ending. I'm not going to say anything about the ending, but wasn't surprised, but also didn't hate it, I guess. But
it teases a sequel, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like, I guess.
The only reason I bring that
so,
up is because we discussed that it's not happening. Like we've confirmed it's not going to get a sequel. Yep. So it'd be disappointing if you get to that point and it is just teased, but you'll never get that.
It's tough to answer though. Like, it's tough to answer your question even for me, because like I would say kind of, but kind of not. I mean, it's very self-contained, I feel like, ending. That's just my take on it. I'm like, I could, as soon as I finished it, and this news obviously came out like the day after I finished the game, which I thought was kind of hilarious timing. But I could see it being its own thing if I hadn't already known it had a sequel back in the day. Like, that ending, I could see it being its own thing. Like, I guess I wouldn't even honestly have expected a sequel if I didn't know there was one. But also, like, having that framing, I can see where there would be a second. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I've played the first game, obviously, and I know what the ending of that is. I just know that I haven't played the remake, obviously, but I have heard that they change elements of the story from the original to the remake. So, but if that story is what it was in the first game, or the ending is, then I would say I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Sure.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the story front to back. The gameplay, obviously, kind of the bigger draw here, right? It's definitely a gameplay game, I would say. But gameplay is pretty fun. I had a friend actually ask me about this the other day, because I'd mentioned I was playing it, and then my brother also asked me about this too. And I told him very similar things in regards to the gameplay, which is that I think it's a very solid game. I think the variety in the guns is very fun. They all serve like their own unique purpose. With that comes, as you could probably imagine, in pretty much any game, especially these like survival horror-esque games where you have weapons with completely different toolkits. They're a bit unbalanced, I think. I know it's a big meme in the community that like the plasma cutter is extremely powerful. A note on that from me is that there's multiple sections of this game where you get grabbed by a force, a tentacle. I'll put it that way. I'll at least expose that much. You get grabbed by a tentacle, and it's like almost like a scripted sequence. Easily my least favorite parts of the game. Easily the most unfun, because when this thing grabs you, you have all these guns that you've collected throughout the game. I kid you not, and I wish I had recorded it so I could like post a link to the video in this podcast description. I tried every sequence with multiple different guns, like kept dying over and over. The plasma cutter is the only gun I could get through those sequences with. I'm using all these different guns throughout my playthrough, but this one ungrabbable, this one grabby thing that got me, that I cannot get away from because it's a scripted sequence, I have to use a specific gun. And it's like, that felt pretty bad, because I'm in chapter 10 or whatever it was. I get grabbed. I've invested a lot of my upgrades into maybe the flamethrower. So I try, I'll just use my best gun in the game on this thing. Nope, died every time. Died 3 times in a row using the combination of the flamethrower and then the force gun, which is like the gun that sends out a wave of energy that pushes enemies away from you. So I'm like, okay, I'm on my 4th or 5th try of like running into this room, getting grabbed, watching a 20-second cutscene, and then dying over and over. I'll use the plasma cutter again. Did it my first try. I'm like, okay, there's like, I don't know if it's this specific enemy. I don't know if it's this gun in general, but like, that was a bit of a frustration, and it extended beyond this specific unskippable cutscene. It was also like, just in general, they're a bit unbalanced in my opinion, because like as I was going throughout the game, what I found was that there's a specific gun type that works really well in a specific situation and then sucks in another situation. So like, for an example, right, one of the bosses, which I won't spoil, is gets massively destroyed by the burst rifle, right? But the burst rifle sucks for 90% of the enemies you run into in the game because it just doesn't do a ton of damage. So like, in my experiences, right, this gun, it's like I use it for this specific sequence and then never again. So it just felt a bit odd, honestly, to be like, I'm going to pour all these upgrades or a lot of my upgrades into a gun, and then that gun is just completely useless for this enemy. Like, felt a bit weird. Almost like they wanted to like have your cake and eat it too, with like, oh yeah, and you know, put a lot of your time and investment into like learning this gun, but then you're not going to be able to use it against this enemy type. And I understand the concept. Obviously, shooters do this a lot, where you know this gun is better against this enemy, so on and so forth. But this felt a little bit more sandboxy of a game. That then felt a little bit weird to me, right? And so I gave Resident Evil 4 as an example. Like Resident Evil 4, I felt like almost any enemy, I could use almost any gun. Sure, maybe it was a little bit easier to kill a regenerator with a scoped rifle, right? That's kind of what it's designed for. But I could also just whip out a shotgun and kill him too. Like, I did that in the game. And so, like, kind of a little bit of a minor complaint from me on the Dead Space front there for that. But overall, the gameplay is really fun. I did like the variety in the weapons. I also love how they do the thing where if you you can shoot normal fire, but then you can have like a sub fire alternative for your weapon. So like there's a gun where it shoots out basically like lines of energy that do a lot of damage to the enemies, or if you shoot it onto the ground, it's almost like a landmine. So like it's little stuff like that I think is really creative and fun about the game.
Nice.
Overall, had a lot of fun with this. Kind of bummed that obviously the sequel got canceled, as we were talking about earlier on the podcast. A bit surprised it didn't sell really well. I think this is a very like palatable game. I think it's anybody who plays this genre or even is somewhat interested in this genre, I think this is a good hopping on point. I think it's very accessible, and it's got it's got a ton of difficulty options, is what I mean by that. It's got a ton of play it your own kind of way going on, that I think it's kind of a shame that this won't get a sequel, obviously, because it was really fun. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty satisfying game, and definitely glad to have kind of gone back and played that. I will call out one specific thing that I thought was really cool is the intro sequence. I think is done really well. It's very creepy. It's a great jumping on point in the game. And it did keep me on my toes at the beginning. Once you get kind of settled in, I think it turns more from, pure horror to more of almost like an action horror game. But the beginning is very creepy, and I really liked the first hour of the game. I wanted to specifically call out. But nice. Alexis, it sounded like you wanted to mention something about... Did you play this?
No, I was thinking about it. I opted with RE4 instead of Dead Space. So I do want to play this one of these days. About the weapon thing, I hate that shit too, because I know some games like Borderlands where some weapon types are ineffective against an enemy or something. And it's like I know Borderlands 2, you need to do a New Game Plus or whatever, you needed slag or whatever to actually do damage to the enemies. So it's this whole thing right there. And I don't know, it's something about horror games that I just get very anxious playing it. And I think that's why I can resonate more with Resident Evil, because it's more action than horror. Horror is a backseat to that. And even Resident Evil 1, when I played it, it wasn't really scary. and like it's creepy at times, like some of the stuff you encounter and stuff. I know there's like spiders, like big ass spiders and stuff in there. I mean, if you're arachnophobic or whatever, you'll hate that. But there's like creepy stuff like that. And then for this one, would you say there's like a lot of jump scares? Because like I think that turns me off, like from the games and stuff, like just random ass jump scares.
I wouldn't say there's a ton of jump scares. I think it's more just like anxiety type horror where you know something's coming, but you don't know when it's going to come. Okay. But there's not a ton of jump scares in this game. I think there's definitely a few, but there's not a ton. Okay. I would say. Okay, because I know there's some games. I remember hearing about Alan Wake 2 having a lot of jump scares, and that's annoying because Alan Wake's not really a horror game, honestly. When I look at it, but for like Dead Space, I mean, yeah, I'll try it out because it does intrigue me. I know people like who are into horror games think it's like the best one ever. So, yeah, I'll give it a try. It was you, yeah? Okay. And then you said...
I just said that earlier this podcast.
Yeah. So you say it's the peak of the franchise, the first one, Henry?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
So like, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, I'll try it out in the future for sure.
The second one definitely tries to be more of like an action game, and the third one is like a straight up, it's a co-op game. So it's like, definitely tries to take, it tries to take a massive step away from the original roots of the franchise. And that's why a lot of people say it, probably didn't perform as well. But I think there's clearly a lot more going on there because this game didn't perform well either. So I don't know what the heck is going on there.
They RE5'd it, so it's just co-op then, like in 3?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
There's co-op. It's full co-op from beginning to end. You always have a companion with you, yeah. It's
because when I think of Dead Space, I think of like scary and horror, and like I don't think of like action and co-op game and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean that's the same thing with like Resident Evil, right? Is like why did they add co-op? But then of course Resident Evil 5 was the best-selling Resident Evil game of all time until 6.
Yeah.
So it still did very, very well. It's possible. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yep. You wanna go on with your other games, Cameron?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I have kind of the next one up, Final Fantasy 14. I just want to give the final definitive opinion. I feel like this is a journey 3 episodes in the making, but quick recap for anybody who's behind on the episodes or didn't listen to the prior ones. I had kind of dove into Final Fantasy 14 about a month ago. 2 episodes ago, and then I was like, I'll put some more time in, and I'll come back with like my final definitive opinions. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, which is I put on our notes sheet "bye for now," which is I think a good way to summarize the fact that I'm definitely don't see myself playing this anymore going forward. I have sort of reservations as to whether or not the MMO type of dynamic was going to kind of play to my liking. And I think after having put a little bit more time in since the last podcast, honestly, it doesn't just align very well with what I like. It's fine as far as, the gameplay and the story. They seem okay, but I also think that being said, this is a big enough time commitment that okay is not good enough.
I get that.
I would say.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's done enough to like kind of reward my time and reward my time in the future. And I think one of the biggest differences for me compared to a lot of other people that are probably like the mega fans of this game is the story, which a lot of people, I've talked about this before, say it takes a long time to kick up. And I'm like, I just don't have time. I have a backlog. We always talk about backlogs in gaming, but I've got a backlog. There's a ton of good games coming out. I can't, play a game for 30 hours for the story to get good. And honestly, I'm not going to say I'm doubting people when they say it's the best story, but I have heard, it's the best Final Fantasy story. I am a big believer in like the more time you put into something, the more you want it to be good. And I'm not saying the story of 14 is not good, people, but I'm saying if you play a game for 150 hours, I think you're going to be more invested in it. So like there could be some of that at play too. Yeah. So, because what I'm seeing so far, early days, is not suggest to me that is the case. But again, maybe it massively develops by then. And kind of the biggest reason I'm giving some pushback on that is I'm seeing people say that a villain turns out to be crazy cool in the future. I've run into him quite a bit already, and he seems very plain. So I'm like, okay, I'm not really seeing where that change is going to happen, but maybe it is going to happen. Who knows? So yeah, in summary, kind of at the end of the day, I think 14's fine. I think if you like MMOs, you're probably going to like this game because I do think it is a well done MMO. I don't think it's anything crazy good so far, and I'm probably about 10 hours in. I don't think it's anything like crazy good for me, at least in terms of my tastes, but I can see the audience, right? And I can clearly tell it's well made. So, I think that there's definitely some merit to it. It's just not my style. So,
yeah. I think with Final Fantasy 14 and like MMOs in general is like sometimes you'll play it for like a week straight and then you won't touch it for a while. And the thing that sucks about MMOs is that you have to pay that monthly subscription. So that kind of turns me off to like go back into it. So like,
yeah,
I know there's a free trial like for 14, which is like very generous. So like that's like the only time I'll actually try out 14 just to like play the free trial and get through the stories and see if it's worth the hype. And you're saying that it's not that good, so it's gonna make me reconsider. I'll think about it though.
Yeah, I talked about this the last podcast too. Is like I will say the free trial is extremely generous. You get the base game and 2 expansions of content now. So that's a ton of time. You know what I mean? I would encourage anybody to if they're interested to give it a try. There's a low barrier to entry, but then don't feel afraid to abandon it is my main thing. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you have to continue playing this for good, right? Because you don't. So
and don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, don't buy it because then if you buy it, then your free trial goes away.
Yep.
So
fantastic point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that's a PSA to people too. Yeah, if you 100% glad you brought that up, Alexis, because that's so important to mention. And I think anybody listening who's interested, like for sure, do not buy the game at all because once you buy it, you are locked into being like a paid person. If you stay on the free trial, if they update the free trials, you're still on a free trial account. And there are some things that like you don't get if you're on the free trial account. Like you can't participate in like I think the player to player marketplace. But look, if you're trying to start the game and just give it a chance, you don't need that stuff, right? Just do the free trial, play it, play your 200 hours of free trial or whatever, and then update your account.
Do either of you know how much a membership is or a subscription is for that game?
It's $15, right?
I think it's
$15 a month.
Yeah,
month.
Jeez.
It's either 12 or 15, I think. But if you do yearly, I believe it drops. So I'm seeing 13. I was gonna say I think it's somewhere around like in between 15 and 20, but I'm seeing 13 a month.
Yeah, I've never understood that. Because in all honesty, I never even factor in the membership cost into a lot of MMOs because I'm just not used to it. I've never played an MMO, and every other game I've ever played is I pay an upfront cost and then I'm done. And paying $120 or more than that apparently every year is for just to continue playing a game. It just seems like such a commitment monetarily, which is unfortunate. I'll ask Cam. I don't think you mentioned this too much, but I'm very interested. Like obviously we've kind of gone over like the main interest for a lot of people here is the story, and I think even if you talk to fans, and I think you've even mentioned this, like the story only gets good like 120,000 hours into the game. So, there's obviously a huge commitment, and you haven't obviously gotten to that point yet. But is the gameplay even worth sticking around for? Or is it literally like you have to just be in it for the story? Or is the game itself actually any fun?
I think that's a great question. I think people that like MMO gameplay are going to have fun with this game because I have played similar games before, so I'm not just, randomly saying this. I've played games with MMO-esque gameplay, and I do think the gameplay, I can see the through line of it being appealing. Now, I will say, here's another caveat, which I feel like there's a lot with this game, which is part of my problem with it. Part of the caveat there, Henry, is that a lot of people too, which I'm seeing that in the game, say that the gameplay doesn't pick up till much later on, because what they do in this game is basically you start out with the class that you chose when you first created your character, and you only have like a limited number of abilities. As time goes on and you level up, you get access to more abilities. But even then, I'm at level 20. I have like a rotation of like 3 or 4 spells I use. So even that deep into the game, right, it's cast this and it's on a 1 minute cooldown, cast this, it's on a 1 minute cooldown, and then I'm pressing the same spell over and over and over and over and over. So that, until you get, I've heard, to like into the high, like, 30s, 40s, 50s, mostly like 40s, 50s levels, is very repetitive combat. So like, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to be probably the harshest thing I say about this game, because it sounds like this is kind of what you were asking more for, is like, how long does it take to, quote, get good? Like, I think that balance is not there for this game. And I would honestly probably say the same for most MMOs if they're all paced like this. I think it's a ridiculous pace, in my opinion. For me to be 10 hours in and have, access to 3 or 4 spells it's just not enough. You know what I mean? It's not enough. And when I'm playing a caster, and, when I say spells, this isn't the type of game where, I'm attacking with one button and casting spells with another. My spells are the only way I attack. So for me to only have, 3 or 4 at this point in the game, it's just not enough. It's not enough, and it's not compelling enough for me. And that's kind of why I'm dipping out. But yeah, I mean, I personally think it takes much too long to, quote, get good, if you're considering getting good, like when stuff starts to apparently pick up. And that's just kind of my thinking.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I obviously, people are going to like some stuff, not like others. I can't. I wanted to like this game, but I don't think I do. I will say, though, it has Triple Triad in it. Nice. For anybody that loves Triple Triad, and I was legit just running around playing Triple Triad for a little bit because I love that minigame, so pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, that probably won't hear much about 14, at least not for a long while. I had a kind of a moment of shock when I saw that, when I rebooted this and I was looking at when I had completed some of the quests. I had told you guys I thought I had created my character a few years ago. I thought it was like 2 years ago that I had played this game for about 5 hours. It was like almost 4 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, man. So it had been that long since I felt compelled to jump back in, which, again, I feel like kind of said something.
What about Down Trail? Would you play that or no?
Well, see, I think the problem with even thinking about it like that is I would have to play everything before that to even get there.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's like,
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so you can't just jump to, that content, at least not a way that I'm aware of. So it's like I would have to do the slog to get to the good stuff, and I don't think the slog is worth it. Okay. At least not for me personally. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember people talking about like the beginning part of it sucks. So.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, but it is what it is. And then the only other thing I was going to mention, this is a very quick hitter because I was talking to the guys before this about this. I find this so interesting. Is I've been talking a lot about Eiyuden Chronicle since we started, because it's the original dev team from Suikoden 1 and 2, and I've been really hyped about this game because that's one of my favorite gaming series. I just wanted to talk really briefly. I haven't actually put any time into the game, but this felt like the best place to kind of slot this into. It's just had such an interesting pre-release situation that I wanted to hit on real quick, which is basically like, so anybody who backed it on Kickstarter, if you backed the physical edition, not Rabbit and Bear Studios who made the game, but it's called Yeti Productions, who's like a third party they've contracted for the physical release and the delivery of the physical release. Basically just sent the copies out way too early. So a lot of people, myself included, got the disc on like Tuesday, Monday even of this week that we're recording. And the game for digital backers came out this morning at 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. my time. So really weird dynamic where physical backers have had their copies all week and digital backers just got access to the game. The thing that makes this even more interesting is if you pre-ordered the deluxe edition, you get access tomorrow. And if you buy it normally, the game actually comes out this coming Tuesday. So the game comes out in 3 days from now. But there's all these kind of weird early release incentives, which were not the main incentive, just to be clear. Like, it wasn't anything close to Star Wars where, you were getting it for like $40 or whatever. It was a marginal difference. And honestly, it came with a lot of extra content, also similar to Star Wars. So it's just been a really weird week keeping up with this game as like a super fan. So I've been tapped into this game more than I would be on any other video games. It's been such a weird week. I got because I got the disc on Tuesday as of this recording, 4 days ago. And it's just been interesting to like have the disc and be waiting for this game for 4 years. And I can't play it because they warned that, no, there's a day one patch that could critically break your save. So I've had the disc. I haven't started it because I'm waiting for this patch, right? And then this morning comes and there's no patch. And I think this is honestly just kind of a larger issue with like Kickstarter, not even Kickstarter games, but just small studios kind of biting off more than they can chew, where I'm like, I think this is just kind of some miscommunication in terms of them being like, oh, and this is kind of my pet theory that I told the guys before the podcast is I think they realized, oh, damn, the physical release got sent out way too early. Let's warn people not to play it so that we don't have a bunch of pissed off digital backers. Because, like, this morning's come and gone. There's no patch. I think they're kind of just stalling. Just my belief. Because there was a patch like 2 days ago. So I'm like, okay, I think that was probably the patch. But, not to get too sidetracked with this whole situation, because I did want to just quickly hit on it. Just to mention, like, it's been a weird release for sure. So in pertaining to the actual game itself, I'm really hyped. I talked to a friend about this the other day. I think that I'll probably be so biased coming into this game that I will find it hard not to enjoy it, if that makes sense, because I'm just gonna be starving for another Suikoden game. And so I think I would love to just be able to play this, and it's going to be really hard for me to be like disappointed by it to an extreme degree. Now, it could maybe not live up to expectations, but I think no matter what, I'm going to somewhat enjoy it, especially if there's like the through line there of it being similar to the first two. How much I'll enjoy it, we'll hear on a future podcast, but I am dying to jump into this, and after we're done recording and I go take the dog out, I'm probably going to start this game, so I'll definitely have some notes for next week's, or not next week, 2 weeks from now. We record bi-weekly, but next podcast, I'll probably have some notes on this game. I am super hyped, though. Everything I've seen looks amazing, and it's in like the Octopath graphic style, or similar to. So,
yep.
Very excited.
Hopefully it's good, because are you gonna buy the Suikoden remakes as well, or the remasters or whatever? Or nah?
That's a tough one for me. I actually, it's funny because I would classify myself as like a mega fan of the series. And what I mean by that is I feel like, everybody has in the gaming space, you have a few series that, they're long games, but you'll be willing to replay them, or, it comes out in different ways, right? It's either a long series and you replay them, which I hardly replay anything. So for me to replay these games, I feel like puts them a tier above, if that makes sense. Or like, you want 100% every game in the series. Like, you get these weird compulsions towards certain series, right? And I think that's just natural. You know, some people just find, like Henry, you were talking about Valkyria. Some people find the game series that like ticks all the boxes, right? And that's this series for me, or one of them for me. So I do think at the end of the day, like, I would probably buy the remakes if they're good, because I love this series so much. I'll be more inclined to do that, Alexis. But I will wait to see, because it is Konami that's making the remakes, and honestly, I don't really trust them super well. And so I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe the originals won't be, like, you know, superseded by the remakes, right? Like, maybe the remakes won't be as good. I don't know. So definitely keeping my eye on that, because I do think 1 and 2 are phenomenal games. We'll likely buy them, but that's it. They're definitely a wait and see. If it was not Konami and it was the same studio that's making this game, I would probably just pre-order it, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
I need to wait and see for Konami games.
Understandably, yeah.
Yeah, good thing that there's a Kickstarter for this, because now you can like compare the two and then see if it's actually like similar to that. Because last thing, would you say, because I don't know, because like there's gameplay of it, I haven't seen gameplay of it. Would you say it's similar to like Suikoden, or is it like fucking like different, or like different new stuff and shit?
It's very, very similar to 1 and 2, and in fact, to, you know, just kind of high level here. We've talked about Fantasy Critic on the podcast, and I have this game because I love this game, and I was like, I gotta have it on my team. But I think this actually is going to review like low 80s, maybe high 70, like 79ish.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And it's not to say that I think, you know, it's not to say that it's not going to be phenomenal for me, because I will probably love this game from everything I've seen. But one thing I have seen from the people that played the beta, the people that have, you know, been playing, and I've been I'm always very anti-spoiler, so I have not read anything about the game, but I have seen some impressions come through this week, and I'm reading that it is, because it's, you know, for anybody that doesn't know, it's the same directive team, you know, same lead artist, same producer who passed away recently, from Suikoden 1 and 2. They came back together, made a Kickstarter, they made a Emulators Chronicle. So I have read from pretty much everybody that it is very similar to 1 and 2, maybe to a fault. Like, that they actually have brought stuff over from those PS1 era games that, quality of life wise, maybe they could have improved on. And there are specific examples that are, you know, people that have played these games could kind of pick out. But at the end of the day, I think the mega fans like me, that's what we're looking for, a feel like the old games. So I think I'm going to love that. I don't think critics are going to, if that makes sense. I think critics are going to knock this game for some of those quality of life things, like, you know, that pop up for them as they're playing the game, that I'm just going to be like, oh no, I kind of like that. Right. And actually one good example for anybody curious, or if you'd like an example, is I saw somebody, you know, that had been relatively new to the series complaining in an article that not all of your party members, whether they're out of the party or if they're, you know, like, I guess you colloquially could always say, like, on the bench, right? So, like, if people aren't actively participating in battle, they don't get experience. And that's like a series staple, right? Is what they do is they give catch-up experience. So, like, if you recruit a character and they're level 5 and you never use them till, you know, your whole party's level 50, you bring them in, they'll come in at level 5, but they get massively inflated experience. And they'll catch up to 50 not too long after playing, you know, with them in your party. Well, a lot of people, or a few people, are complaining about that, saying like, oh no, like, you know, Tales of games or Trails games, like, these have catch-up experience, like, or not catch-up experience, I'm sorry. These have universal experience to where, like, even if somebody's not in battle, they're still leveling up with my party. And that's a small thing where I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's just a design choice, right? Like, yes, it's a kind of an older thing, but some games do it and some don't. And I think that is something a critic might not like, but I love that concept. You know what I mean? Because you get this massive army, right? And if I never use a character, I don't want them to come in at like level 70 into my party. You know what I mean? I want them to have to kind of earn their keep. But I realize that might not be the most popular opinion. So I think that's where the reviews will shake out. But I am very, very looking forward to this. Nice. This is Suikoden is by like absolutely in my top like 2 series ever. I love these games. Nice. So I love the gimmick of building an army. I love the gimmick of getting a headquarters that you like improve on as the game goes on. It's such a unique thing that very few games do. So yeah,
it sounds
very
cool.
hyped for this game.
Mm-hmm. When's the release date? Do you know?
It is Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So we're recording on Saturday. Yeah, it's in 3 days.
Nice.
So, if you're not a digital purchaser or a Kickstarter backer, you'll be getting it Tuesday. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Is that everything you got to say, Cam?
That's all I got.
All right. Let's get into my game. So I've been playing like these past couple weeks. I was just playing like multiplayer games. So like now I'm just back into like my single player games and stuff. So, but I want to start with Helldivers too. So, I think for like the first 2 months of Helldivers too, like I was on that like every couple of days and stuff. And now it's just like I'm on it like once a week. So like I usually just load in because then the missions are like kind of long. So it's like there's like varying difficulties. So like 1 through 9. And 1 being the easiest, and then 9 being the very hardest. And then I usually play like on difficulties like 7, 8, or 9, depending on the mission, because like some missions are like very like outrageous. Like there's like so much going on in your screen, and like you take so much damage, so you just die instantly. So I usually play like 7 or 8. And then like there's a lot. They've been adding like a lot of updates to this game since like it came out. Like it's only been like a couple months. It's like there's a lot of new stuff. It's way different than how it came out originally. And I like the system where they have like battle passes or whatever, and then it's like you can buy them, but they never expire. So like you can always go to like an old one that they released, and then there's like you can buy the guns that they have in that like battle pass. It's not even like a battle pass. It's like I don't know. It's like a progression system. It's like you just buy it with like the credits. You can earn the credits in the game, and then you spend it with like medals you get for completing missions and stuff. It's grindy though, so like if you're brand new to the game, man, you're gonna have to grind a lot. Like I'm like 30 hours in, and like I still don't have everything from the battle passes because it's a long grind. But they added like new missions and stuff. Like there's this one mission where you have to like defend defend the enemies coming in. Like you have to lock the door, so like you press a button to close the door, but they can break in. I don't know, it's sort of like Clash of Clans. If you remember playing Clash of Clans or whatever, it's like you're defending a base or whatever. So you gotta like defend like these tanks coming in, these big ass robots and stuff like that. And like oh my god, like I remember playing with one of my friends. Like there's so many explosions going on. It's like your screen just gets lower in frames. It's like everything's like slow motion and stuff. It's like it's fucking hilarious. So I fucking love it. I record like a video of it, of like the whole sequence, because you have to defend it for like 20 minutes or something before like you have to like wait for the rockets to launch. It's like a mission or whatever. So that I really like doing that. And like we were just like communicating like, oh, I'm gonna take out this ship coming in, because the ships that come in bring in like reinforcements of enemies, or like they bring in tanks, like big ass tanks, and you're supposed to take it out because the tanks do like major damage and like they can one shot you. So like we always like focus on taking that out. And it's like, yeah, if you haven't played Helldivers 2, like I would recommend it. Like if you're like you want like a co-op game, or like you want something that's like explosions going off like a Michael Bay movie or whatever, like boom, like just play this. Or like you can wait for its sale, because it's been a while since it came out. So I think during the summertime there might be a sale for it. You probably get it for like $10 off, I think, because right now
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because like I'd say that the player base is going down, but I think it's still like a healthy base. So you get matches quick, because there's only 4-player co-op. So like, and if there's like a discount, like I would recommend it if you're like itching for like some co-op gameplay and like rampage, outrageous explosions, like that type of stuff. Then yeah, I'll play that. It's like a lot of fun.
the thing that I would have to say about that is, for most multiplayer games, it's always difficult for me to justify jumping in, especially after a release window, because like I feel like at that point, I mean, every multiplayer game goes through this, but you know, like you have that initial influx of players, and then some players get good, or those players that stuck around got good, and you jump in late, and you're just going to be playing with a bunch of dudes that are way better than you and expect you to be good.
Yeah.
And or you know, like just beat the crap out of you because you're not good, or whatever the case is, depending on the game that you're talking about. But it just feels like there's a huge amount of learning that you're expected to have as a new player if you just don't get in on that initial wave.
Yeah.
So it's always very intimidating. And I also am like, co-op games, I feel like it's just any multiplayer game really, but like playing with people, you're expected to be very good at the game, especially if it's co-op. Like you're ruining somebody's game if you're not good enough. Like League of Legends is a big example there. I had a friend who played Left 4 Dead 2. Like, and apparently the community behind Left 4 Dead 2 is like crazy hardcore now. Like if you jump into a public match of Left 4 Dead 2, like if you're not good at that game, they'll just like completely troll you into the ground. Like I didn't even know that community was that hardcore, but
it's an old ass
they
game.
are.
That's why. So like the only people playing are like dedicated people on that.
Yeah, apparently so. But like that's what's scaring me off from this game. I think that if I still hear people talking about it, and they're all still talking pretty positively about it as well. So like clearly this is a game that's a lot of fun. It's just intimidating for me to jump into at this point.
Okay, so because it's a fairly new game for like online games in general. So like I don't know how the future is gonna be for like onboarding like new players and stuff. But like there's difficulty levels. Like if I were you, like if you're a new player, like do not play the higher difficulties because you don't have like the weaponry to handle that, and like the airstrikes or whatever, like all like the stratagems, that's what they call them, to like handle like these big ass tanks and robots and stuff. So you can always like lower the difficulty like to like there's 1 through 9. So like I was saying, but like you could change it to like 1, 2, 3 or 1 through 4. I'll recommend for like new players because there's not that much like going on, so it's easier to control like the battle and stuff. So like there's still games going on like in the lower level because there's a lot of people out there that they don't want like that difficulty. They just want to go in and chill. And I would say the community is not toxic at all. Like I've only had one encounter like on a high level, like level 8, and he got mad, so we just killed him and kicked him out. Like if you're the host, you can do that. So like anybody talking shit, man, we just kick them out because like we're not trying to deal with that. So like be the host of a game, so like you don't have to deal with that.
I gotcha. That makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah. So it's not very you don't really gotta compete because like as long as you know what you're doing, like you should be good because like all the people all your teammates, they want to get like as many kills as they can. So like they don't really care if you're underperforming. So but it's weird for me because I'm always playing like with 1 or 2 buddies on this. Like I'm never playing with randoms. So it's kind of hard to tell, but like the randoms I have, like they're pretty good. Like they know what they're doing, and they're very fairly nice to like new players compared to like other multiplayer games because this is like a co-op game. So I wish there was a demo or like a beta that came out for this so you can try it out. Because it's kind of hard to like tell whether if you're into like this online multiplayer game because it does get repetitive after a while. So like I was saying, like I only play like once a week or whatever. Or like once every 2 weeks. It depends if like my friends want to play because we only do like 1 or 2 missions. So yeah, I do wonder for the future for like new players, like because there is a lot of grinding though. Like for you, like it'll be kind of overwhelming at first, but like as long as you know like what to buy and stuff, like you have to buy like the good stuff. So like there's a lot of shit in the armory, like some like bad stuff in there. So it's like sometimes you might waste your credits on it. So like you're gonna have to wait a couple more games to buy a new thing to unlock. So yeah, I don't know I'll recommend it because like I know there's some people that are not into multiplayer games that love this because it's co-op. It's kind of hard because like you say League of Legends is like it's very different. I think like co-op to like it's PvE. So it's like you're facing AI mostly. So. Yeah, that's it for Helldivers 2. So check it out if it's on sale. I'll recommend it. And Skull. So last week we were talking about the PS Plus games, and I wanted to try Skull, and you guys were saying like this shit is ass. It's like it's not good. So I wanted to try it out, and I would say it's kind of mid, I guess.
I've seen you playing it a lot, man.
Yeah.
You're just playing it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I'm playing it a lot is because I want to beat it. Like I want to get to the end of the game. And there was, oh my god, I fucking hate it because there's like a lot of RNG in this one. So, oh my god, like a couple of days ago, there was this one run I made it to the final boss, and like he was almost dead, and I just died because, bro, like the moves that he was doing, it was like impossible to like dodge them because it's like there's like so much going on in your screen and stuff. It's like you can't dodge it. You're gonna have to take some damage. So I died at the end, and like after that run, I just got off because it's like the runs take a long time. They're like 30, 40 minutes. And like, and it's very repetitive because each level is the same. So like, once you die, you gotta go all the way to the beginning. And sometimes you get good RNG, so sometimes you get like the good skulls or whatever. Like the skulls are like the weapons and the powers you get. And then there's a lot of thinking to like your runs and stuff. Like you want this item, you want a physical build or a magic build. It's like there's like so much going on, and like. It can get fun. It's like I do like a couple of runs a day because I want to see how far I can get. And then you also get like gems after like you kill a boss or whatever. So like you can permanently upgrade your character. So like I got like I can revive, like with 60 HP. I can attack faster. I take reduced damage. So yeah, this is a game that you have to grind a lot. So I don't know because people were saying like this is really good. I think it's all right, but I do want to beat it though. Like I'm like right at the end. Like I have like almost all the upgrades for like my skull, like my permanent upgrades. So like I just want to try and beat it, but it's annoying because the RNG is like I always bring it up because it's like some runs you die like in the third boss or like the second boss, and then some runs you get like really far, and it's like I want to get back. I want to get back on top. So it's annoying to like go back, get some like bad skulls. And like it sucks. So did you guys play this one? Because I remember you saying it's kind of which I kind of agree, but it's kind of fun at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about it last week. I gave it a shot. I played like 30 minutes of it, for 45 minutes of it, something like that. And I think I never said it was bad. I did say it was meh. Yeah. Like you were saying. I think I said if you really want a game like this, try something like Dead Cells. Like Dead Cells is probably a much better alternative to this that you'll probably enjoy much more. What the problems you're describing with it are what I think like my problems with most roguelikes are, is like it's basically chance if you're going to have a good time or not. Like, you know, it depends on your drops. It depends on a lot of dice rolls on whether your run is good, and like you can commit a lot of time to a run and you just didn't have a good dice roll that time. But like that is part of why a lot of people like roguelikes, is because it's basically gambling. You know, you roll the dice, you get a good roll, and you know you get that dopamine hit. And if you know, it doesn't feel very good if you roll snake eyes every single time. You have to roll it every once in a while, and that's when it's fun. So, you know, it's definitely like a gambling kind of thing that makes the chance factor that makes this kind of genre fun. And you really need a lot more going on than Skull did, in my opinion, to really draw me in. A lot more polish, a lot more incentive to keep going, and I didn't see that immediately with Skull, and I knew that there were better ones out there, so I dropped it.
Yeah, I like the concept of it, like the roguelikes, because I haven't really played many roguelikes, and I think I like the concept. I think this is just the wrong game for it, because it's just like it's so annoying to like get a bad run, because it just demotivates you to like try again. So it's just like you're talking about like gambling. It makes sense because like I want the high of like being like overpowered and stuff. And like I remember there's one build that has like a wolf or whatever, and I was just like killing everything in my path. I was like one-shotting like all these abilities and stuff. And then it's like I think the bosses are annoying because like some of their moves are like unguardable or like undodgeable. So it's like, damn. It's like I want to get back on top, and it's like sometimes you get like the bad runs. It's like I think I do want to try like Dead Cells or something, or Hades or something, because it's fun.
Yeah, both great games.
Both good.
I like the concept. It's just maybe the wrong game for it. So I've had it like I'll rate it like a 7 out of 10. So yeah, I wouldn't buy it though. Like I'm not gonna buy it because I think it was on PS Plus, because I would have been pissed if I bought it, because like some runs are infuriating, honestly, because And I don't really get mad. It's just like sometimes it's like, man, just give me a good skull or whatever. And sometimes you do it and sometimes you don't. And yeah, it's like a whole process, man. It's like, damn. But good thing you dropped it though, because like this game, man, I think I'm like over 10 hours in. I'm like, I think I'm almost done with it. I just had to fight the final boss, and I don't know when that's gonna happen. So I might take a couple hours, or it might be my next run. You just don't know. Yeah. So that's it for Skull. If you want to try it out, but try it for like 30 minutes, like Henry, and see if you want to try anymore. Because the combat is basic too. So it's just like you just press square and L2 and R2 to use your abilities and stuff. So. It's kind of cool. So 7 out of 10, honestly. So, and then my last game. So, I took a couple weeks off from this game. So I was playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and like I took like a couple weeks, which is weird because I think like Remake I didn't really take a break, but for Rebirth I took a break from it. I don't know what it was, but I think it's a good thing I took a break, because now that I'm back into like Rebirth. Now I'm in love with it now. So like I really want to like go back and just play like right now. Like, so right now I'm doing all like the side quests and the open world stuff. So I'm doing like all the Chadley stuff and all these like smaller things in the world. And I think I'm really enjoying it now. So like right now, I think I'm loving it on the same level as like I did with Remake. So it's a good thing that I took a couple weeks off. So I wasn't sure that I was liking it, but now I'm like, yeah, I think this is good as Remake, and I can't wait to see like how the game ends, because I'm like nearing the end. I'm like at 70. The game says I'm at 79%, so I still got to do some stuff.
What chapter are you at? Do you know?
14. No, not 14. Was it 12? I think.
Okay, I was about to say I think there's 14 chapters.
Yeah,
so you'd be very close.
It was like 2, so it was like 12. I think 12 or near the end of 11. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So right now,
you're close.
I'm doing all the side quests, and the side quests are really good now, I think. So like now that I'm playing, I'm like, yo, these side quests are actually kind of decent. So it's a good thing I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I think also the battle system as well, like just like going around the world, just fighting anything I see and just like dominating. It's just fun. So I'm like, I think I'm level 49, I think. So I don't know what the max level, I think is level 50, right? For your characters?
I think it's 70.
Oh shit. So damn, so like I'm barely like because I'm at 49, I'm like I keep thinking like I'm close to like maxing out all my characters, so I guess not. So yeah, we'll see with that. So yeah, with Rebirth, I think it will be my game of the year at the end. I still gotta like finish up with the story stuff, but so far, yeah, the side quests are good. Yeah, I don't know. Did you finish any of the side quests, Henry, or did you skip most of them? Because I'm doing.
I did the vast majority of them.
Okay.
The vast majority.
And you didn't like it.
And I said like half of them are good, half of them are like standard, like go kill stuff, come back kind of stuff, which was not interesting to me at all.
Okay.
So I think that hopefully you're getting all the good ones.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Most of them.
Are you sticking to like? You're sticking to like what? What are the ones the special? There's like special side quests. I forget what they're called, where you're like collecting fragments of a thing or whatever the heck.
I'm saving that for the end because I know that one's probably the best one. So I'm just doing all.
Well, what the heck? Yeah, those are definitely the best ones. Okay,
really?
okay.
Okay. I'm doing the ones, the one with the green marker on it. So.
Yeah, I'd say about half of those are good, half of those are bad. Or meh. Maybe not bad. Like in the first game, they were definitely bad.
Yeah.
In this game, they're like meh, which is better than bad. But like it's still. I would. Maybe it's the way you're doing the content at this point, but like I wouldn't progress in the story at all unless I had finished all side content, because that's just how my brain works. And like I was so frustrated with the side content at that point in the game.
Okay.
So I think you're just playing it right is what's happening. Yeah,
I want to try and like get all the side quests done, because I think I'm really like enjoying it. There was one in general that I'm like, oh shit, this is actually good. It's like this is like story level quality for like the side quests. So yeah, that's it. That's it for Rebirth. I still got to do the story, of course. So I don't know when I'll finish it, because there's so much stuff to do in this game. Like
there's a lot.
I'm like, yo, when they said this is like over like 120 hours, I believe them. I'm already like at 80.
I hit 80, and that's when I wrapped it up.
Okay.
But I started skipping a lot of like if you want to do all the mini games, you literally have to do mini games perfectly in order to get the highest rating.
That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to perfect everything.
Oh my gosh! You're crazy.
I don't know.
That's a whole nother level.
It might have been that skull effect where I'm trying to perfect it. I'm trying to finish it. So, yeah.
I did one mini game perfect, and I was like, this. It literally took me an hour, and I did like the sit-up mini game for an hour.
I perfected that one.
Oh my god,
dude!
Yeah,
it took me like an hour.
You have to be. Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh
it took me a whole
God,
hour.
That was so hard. That one was so hard. And
I was like, I can't do this for every single mini game because there are dozens of mini games in this game.
Yeah.
And in order to get the platinum trophy, you have to like get the highest rating on every single one of them. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Oh, do you really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good because I'm doing that, and I didn't know there's a trophy because I don't want to look at the trophies and spoil myself. So that's good.
Oh. I hate when they do
I don't
that.
look at trophies.
They do that so
yeah, good thing you
often.
said that because I was just perfecting everything because I like doing it. So.
Yeah, I think you get a trophy from perfecting everyone in like Johnny's trophy case or whatever. I'm sure you know what that is at this point.
Oh my god! When
so,
that happened, I was like, "Holy shit! This is gonna take a long time."
Right? I know. So yeah, there's definitely over 100 hours of content in this game. I just did not. I was not about it. I was not about 100%.
I 100%ed it in 30, so I don't know what you're talking
Dang.
about. No, I'm kidding.
This guy.
I mean, I read something from like I think Gene Park. He said that he finished the story like in 35 hours, which is crazy. So
if you
just do the story,
mainlined it, I can see it.
yeah,
Beeline.
he said he beelined it all the way to.
Some people play like that. Honestly, I can't. Like Henry, like you, I have like a compulsion, and it's like I'm like I can't do it, but. We work around these things, but yeah, I can't beeline it through a game. But yeah, some people I know will just straight up skip all the side content, and like their times are drastically different in games like this where they give you a ton of side stuff. It's like, yeah, you could massively cut down on the length of the game if you ignore that stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying it right now more than I did before. So, which is good. So. Can't wait to go back and play it again today.
I'm interested to see what you think about the ending.
Yeah,
because I think that's interesting to me personally.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what's gonna happen, so it's good. That's it for what we've been playing. I don't know. You want to go with Kirby's question real quick, like rapid fire, or?
Yeah, let's hit Kirby's question.
Yeah, so Kirby, he was talking about like some actresses. So he says video games are becoming more and more popular, and with that, we see more actors and actresses diving into mocapping characters. Cyberpunk 2077, The Quarry, Death Stranding, to name a few. Is there an actor or actress, perhaps someone from say professional sports, that you'd be excited to see on your PC or console? Top of my mind, my pick is Samara Weaving in The Quarry Until Dawn type of game. Thank you, Kirby, for the question. I haven't really found an answer. I don't know if you guys want to tackle this first about an actor or actress.
Cam, you got one?
Yeah, I do actually. Well, so real quick, first of all, because I know we're rapid firing this, I do want to say like it's funny. The example he gave was Quarry and Death Stranding and Cyberpunk, because I was going to say I've never played Cyberpunk, but I actually like the implementation more in a game like The Quarry than a game like Cyberpunk.
I get that.
Like a game like Cyberpunk, I don't want somebody like recognizable as one of the main characters. It's just my preference. Game like The Quarry, where it's almost like more of a movie, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That I feel like it fits a little bit better into. So yeah, I mean that was kind of a side note from me. With that being said. The type of stuff that and this is actually a really good example pick that he gave of Samara Weaving. The one that I was going to say was Nick Cage in actually like in a Until Dawn type of game too, actually. So like I would love him in like one of these like more movie style games, because obviously like I was saying I don't really like the other way around, but I don't know, for some reason I feel like he could just go absolutely wild in a video game and it would be kind of amusing.
You know, he kind of has already done that.
What game is it?
He's in Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk though.
I remember that, yeah. I thought you meant like a movie type game.
No.
I was like, oh, no.
Dead by Daylight.
No, I get you. Yeah, he's definitely
close.
a DVD, but
It's close. Not really, but it's a horror kind of game with Nicolas Cage in it. It's very funny because apparently his like son liked that game a lot, and so he was like, "I'll be in it." Mm-hmm. So they were like, "Yeah, sure."
That's funny.
But yeah, I think I really do like your point there. I think it's a fair one of saying like, yeah, like The Quarry is definitely something I'd rather see people in because again, it is like a movie, so it makes more sense when you see like Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. You're kind of taking it out a little bit because you're like, I know who that is.
You're John Wick.
Yeah. There's John Wick, or Shadow the Hedgehog apparently in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Mm-hmm. But like it pulls you out because you're trying to get immersed, right? You don't want to be reminded, oh yeah, this is a product from a studio that made this or whatever the case may be. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like. In terms of like my immersion breakingness, but I can definitely see people prefer it that way. For me, I'm not a huge like celebrity guy that like gets goo eyes when I see like, oh, this name associated with this project. Oh, I got to see that now. But like if I had to say, just for, I think a lot of these celebrities kind of jumping into these games now, it kind of signifies that games are a lot more mainstream now and a lot more respectable as a medium. Like I don't think these actors would be lending their likeness to these games if they didn't think that they were valuable in some way, shape, or form. And so I'd say put the biggest celebrity there is in a game, to really say like, yeah, this guy will do it. It is cool to be in video games now. And I'd say like the one that comes to mind for me is like a respectable actor that people would be like, oh, he actually decided to do that? That's kind of crazy. He's like a Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that.
I want to see him.
That'd be probably my pick.
That's a good pick because I don't think he's in any game, is he? Leonardo?
No, he's definitely not.
See, I want to see him tackle that because we see John Wick, of course, Keanu Reeves or whatever. And I'm trying to think of one. I know a lot of games, like Vin Diesel. He's in Arc 2 for some reason. I don't know if you remember that.
He's in what's that movie he was in a long time ago? That was that sci-fi movie. I can't remember it now. It was supposed to be a good game. He was the main character. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. It was in the PlayStation 2. Anyway, he's actually really big into video games.
Yeah. Are you talking about Riddick?
Yeah. Chronicles of Riddick. That's it.
Yep.
He's in several games like that because he's like considers himself a very big video gamer and tried to put himself in those games.
Yeah, it's funny because in the Arc 2 trailer you see him riding like a dinosaur. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So like my pick, oh man, I would say like Edwin McGregor or something from like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think he's a good actor. I want to see him like tackle like something like in a game.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. It doesn't have to be like Star Wars necessarily, but I think something like brand new, something like in the Quarry, Until Dawn type of game. I think I like that because I know like in Until Dawn there's like a lot of celebrities in there like got their start in that game, and now they're doing like new roles and stuff. So probably that. I can't really think of any other celebrity. I'm with Henry. I just don't know. I'm not like with celebrity fandom, honestly. So.
Yeah, I'm like really in tune with actors and actresses from movies because I watch a ton of movies, but I'm not I'm not huge into like the knowing their personal lives part of the fandom. I'm like, that's just, no, I don't care, honestly. I just like seeing if an actor I like is in a movie I like. So,
sure.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with
you.
Or
Hayden Christensen. It'd be funny to see him like in a game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it for the question. So, let's wrap up the show. Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening to another episode of the Plug and Play podcast. My name is Alexis, and make sure to give us a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Thank you.
See you, everybody.